That was great. We're
I was
still
just going to say that.
that
That was so good.
Yeah. Well, hello and welcome to episode 82 of the XboxEra Podcast. I'm Sikamikanico, and I'm joined, as always, by Shpeshal Nick.
What's going on?
And it is our distinct pleasure to have a very special guest, Destin Legarie from IGN. Welcome, Destin.
Bam. Hey, everybody. How's it going?
He did bam. I was hoping he would. I'm like,
of course.
I wonder if, I thought, is that exclusive to Unlocked or will he give us bam as well?
No, you want more BAMs? Check me out we air it on Tuesdays, right? We record on Tuesdays, and I think it goes live Tuesday nights, unlocked over on IGN.com. All the BAMs.
Yeah.
All of the BAMs.
All the BAMs.
Yeah.
I'm glad we got that. That was good.
I'm discovering I need a catchphrase. Like, there's several guests now. There's a catchphrase. I get hello and welcome.
You're the serious person, so you stay that way.
I kind of, I'm feeling a little bit left out, but
no.
I digress. That's okay. We're back with another episode. It's been a really great week if you're a big Xbox fan, although not if you're not willing to shell out £45 or $40. I know there's a lot of furor going on the internet about this whole early access thing, but regardless, Forza Horizon 5 is out. I've been playing it a little bit before the early access went on sale. Thanks, Nick.
Can't believe I gave up that code.
I can't believe you gave out the code. I was like, all right.
I can't believe I gave up that
chances. Code. But so you haven't played it yet, right?
Not yet. I had a code for it, and I very stupidly gave it away to someone.
There were videos that needed creating. I was there. I appreciate the sacrifice. What about you, Destin? Have you played Forza Horizon 5 yet? Are you a fan of the series?
I played a little bit. I played too much, if I'm being totally honest. I started playing like I'm a casual racing fan, and I started playing it, and I played a decent amount of Forza Horizon 4, but I didn't get super into it. I started Forza Horizon 5, and man, it just hits all of the right notes. It is so fun, and I didn't put it on super hard difficulty or anything. I just kind of play it on normal or whatever the default setting was, and then adjusted as I played through, and I just had such a great time. I really love the game. I've been doing online. I finally did the Eliminator. I think the best I've done is 7th, though. I got to get good at that. It's their Battle Royale.
Yeah.
I was amazed that Forza had a Battle Royale. I'm like, okay, what is this? And I love that you start with a bug, and then you have to upgrade your car. It's really interesting.
It's really clever.
The game's a blast.
Have you played Split Second?
No.
Have you played Split Second?
That's a throwback.
It is a throwback.
Yeah.
He's a big fan.
I don't remember. I might have. I don't remember it though.
Because that's I assume where Playground got their inspiration for the Eliminator, because that mode is in Split Second where there's 8 cars, last one left behind. So every 20 seconds, 30 seconds, something like that. It's been a while since I've played Split Second, but every 20 or 30 seconds, whoever's in last place blows up. They're eliminated until there's only one man standing.
It's a great mode.
Yeah, it's fun. It's cool.
It's definitely taking advantage of the zeitgeist of battle royales. Because I've seen all the Halo needs a battle royale, but that's another topic of conversation. But yes, similarly to you, Destin, loaded it up, the intro and the way it just drops you into all those different cars and it shows you the sights of Mexico. It's incredibly slick. It's incredibly well done. I've been bouncing around between my Series X, my Series S, and my PC, which I got working again, by the way. I know if anyone saw on Twitter earlier, I was having a few hiccups. There was a Windows 11 update. Once it kicked in, it was all good. And it actually got me Googling wheels on Amazon. I was like, do I need to get a wheel for this? But it's great. And it's one topic of conversation I see coming up a lot on Twitter and in our forums, and certainly in the Xbox community, is should this be on the Game of the Year possibilities list? And then a lot of people,
absolutely.
Yes,
I nominated it for Game of the Year, or I will be whenever we do that. And my friend Mark, I think for him it's a Game of the Year contender also, and he leans more PlayStation, and even he's playing it and he's like, this game is phenomenal, and it's a Game of the Year contender for him too. So it's really, really good. And I do have a further question for both of you. Could a racing game ever win Game of the Year? That's the real question, right?
Yeah, and that's the topic of conversation, right? Is a lot of people denounce that and say it's a racing game, it's a sports game. It doesn't get that chance because it's not a narrative driven, trying to be like a movie, evoking emotions about a troubling storyline or something like that. It's just pure fun and joy and a love for cars and the country that it's set in, and it's really good. I think it shouldn't be. It should be able to win because it's a great game.
That's right.
The end.
It's. I mean, like my assumption is that the conversation gets broken down into the way movies do it. Yeah, like the Golden Globes has Best Picture Comedy, Best Picture Drama. I don't know. Are the Game Awards going to head in the same direction? Best game, narrative-driven experience, best game, whatever. Like,
well, they do categories, but they also have they have a cutoff. I don't know if Forza made it because they're cut off sometime in November. I know Halo's not going to make it.
No, Halo definitely won't.
Yeah.
No, I think Forza Horizon just sneaks in, depending on the people nominating, I think.
Well, what else have we had this year? Because for me, Forza's a runner. I'm going to vote for Returnal.
Well, there's been Ratchet and Returnal.
Yeah, those are on top of my mind.
For me personally, Artful Escape, I think is up there.
What was the
Death's Door?
Yeah, Death's Door. That was the other one.
I'm just trying to think what else. What else has there been? Psychonauts 2.
Yeah.
Psychonauts 2, that's a good one.
For me, Little Nightmares 2, I thought was phenomenal. I absolutely loved it. That was way back in February or something. And on the topic of Game of the Year, we've got a very, very helpful user in the chat who's just throwing money. hate watching this podcast right now. You do you, bro. Xbox will never be better than PlayStation, says Ratchet will win. Cope Nick, you got good points. Oh man. If that's how you're spending your Saturday night, more power to you. Thank you for your money.
That makes me laugh.
It does.
For me, it's down to Returnal and Forza. Like those are the two for me that I've enjoyed the most this year. And I love Ratchet and Clank. And I think that will be the one that's more likely in most people's minds. But I do hope Forza gets a shot at least. I think it's going to be close.
Yeah. It's interesting because I don't think every year that Forza has come out, it's been like Horizon. It's been one of the highest rated games of the year every time they've released one since Forza Horizon 2, right?
Maybe even the first one.
I think the first one was still like a big universal surprise. This new studio just bowls up, nails it on the first attempt, and then iterates constantly and improves. And I just seen Thomas Fellows in the super chat. Forza Horizon 5 now standing at 913,000 players, and it's not technically out until Tuesday. That's pretty impressive.
The Game Pass numbers are going to bump that up a lot.
Yeah. But I mean, that's the 913,000 players. That's people that have paid some kind of money. So they've either bought the premium or they've bought the add-on for Game Pass subscribers.
So let's say all 1 million. We'll just use 1 million because it's a rounder number.
Yeah.
Paid $44.
Yep.
Minimum.
44 times 1 million is $44 million. So seems like it's selling okay.
Yeah.
It's doing all right. It is.
But you mentioned Deathloop. I think that's another one that critics were very, very pleased with. It's going to be an interesting game of the year, and I think for Microsoft, Psychonauts 2 and Forza Horizon 5 are the two that they're probably like, these are our studios. I mean, Deathloop, who celebrates? Which side celebrates if that wins? Both? I don't know.
Well, I mean, that's not really a.
I know
it's not really a side,
I'm
it's just
mocking the Twitterverse.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, well, apparently everything needs to be like that.
I think it's Deathloop, Ratchet, Returnal, Forza, and I'm missing one.
Flight Sim doesn't count, does it?
I don't think it will because it's sort of like a re-release. It's like then does Death Stranding Director's Cut count? Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut count? And in my opinion, those two don't because they're re-releases.
No, that's right.
It's like, Doom got a graphical upgrade. Does that count?
Can you imagine?
But Icky Island, that's an expansion that could win like best expansion. I don't think it could win like game of the year though.
Yep.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah.
But yeah, Forza Horizon 5. I'm sure if the chat has played it, they won't be watching this. They'll probably be playing Forza Horizon 5 because it's very, very addictive. But yeah, kudos to the team for delivering that. It's an excellent game and wholeheartedly recommend it. I think we gave it a 9.6. I think IGN gave it a 10.
Yeah, we gave it a 10.
Wow.
And yeah, I back that 10, 100%.
Yeah, it's definitely well
my colleague Mark also backed the 10. I know. And everybody's playing it now and they're like, this is amazing. Pear, everybody knows Pear like runs IGN. He's playing it right now and he is loving it. He's a big Forza fan, Forza Motorsport and Horizon, and he's having a blast. So yeah.
There you go. So
play Forza.
That's the message. Just quickly deal with a couple of super chats. We've got Cerys in the chat. Debunked like Nick is the name of my new fragrance. Buy it. And we've got Cade Forever saying Forza really only has Ratchet and Deathloop for competitors. However, Destin the Mandalorian is overrated. Sorry.
The Mandalorian?
Destin the Mandalorian. I don't know.
Is he referencing something from another show?
No idea.
I don't know.
Cade,
I'm not sure.
You're not making sense to us, my man. You have to fill us in the chat.
He may need to clarify that one.
Do I have the Mandalorian? No.
No, I don't know. I have no idea what that is.
Very strange.
Jason, $10. Rocket League Season 4 Game of the Year.
Yeah, could that win?
Yeah, Rocket League's always my Game of the Year.
In your
always.
heart, it does.
I love it. I just bought a BMW in Rocket League.
Wow. Really?
They released the BMW DLC bundle pack thing. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to buy it.
My headset's dying, so I got to switch to the speakers.
That's all right, man.
Let's see how this goes.
That's okay. That's fine.
So outside of that, we've got Halo has been in the news quite a bit this week, and it's mostly because IGN have got some coverage on it, which is all well and good. We've seen a little bit of a new map. We've seen lots of other things. I think Ryan and was it Melinda went out there to
Miranda,
beg your pardon.
Ryan Miranda and Brian Malkowitz is on production.
Nice.
Yeah, Ryan used to do Fireteam Chat. If anybody watched that show,
I remember.
Fireteam Chat. That map looks great.
It does look great. I'm really, really excited.
It looks really good.
Every map I've enjoyed every map in the flight, and it's a shame. I feel sorry that they don't get a shot at their Game of the Year because next year is jam packed. There's probably way too many contenders, and at that point, would have been the first game released that could be counted in that year. But I'm sure everybody's looking forward to it. Did you enjoy the flight, Destin? Halo-wise?
Yeah, I did a performance preview on the first flight, and I found myself playing like too much. Using the sniper on the weapon drills is really fun. The new skewer weapon's really fun. I didn't play as much during the second flight just because I had some stuff going on that didn't really allow me to. I was on paternity leave, so family stuff takes priority in that instance. But all my colleagues had fun, so I like everybody playing. Yeah,
I mean it's a very addictive game, and Halo's always been a big passion of mine since the first one. And Halo Infinite, it feels very much like the I guess the atmosphere out there is very, very excited. A lot of people are really looking forward to seeing it. And I know Ryan got to see something like 3 or 4 hours of campaign, which none of us have really seen aside from the 2 vids that we've had, right? So that's probably coming towards the end of this month, I presume.
Do you know if he's enjoying it, Destin?
I can't comment on any.
Well,
I didn't think so. Like even if I knew, I can't say anything. So
that's fair. Yeah, we'd be breaking
that's not fair to Ryan, and so they went out there and they did all their IGN First work. So we'll be seeing the rest of that throughout the month over on IGN. But like, I'm not. I would never have anything to say about my colleagues who are working tirelessly to bring the audience tons of Halo Infinite coverage over the next
and it's looking
several
really good.
weeks.
There'd be a lot. There'd be a hell of a lot.
Yeah, I've done those IGN First. I did it when we revealed Destiny. They're no joke. Like you're capturing tons of stuff in a very short window of time. There's a lot of agreements and stuff, and the Destiny IGN First was a lot of fun to work on, but it's a lot of work too. It's like
I mean, just from our limited experience, you know, we when we go to cover things, I mean, all of our stuff, everything we do is completely volunteer based. So we've got a small team, all work together, and when we see these big things coming out, you know, and we get access to it, there's often a very big race to the end, you know, and that's all of us doing our best. You know, I can imagine when you've got really big things like that, exclusive coverage, and you've got to tick all these boxes and get all of these different bits out the door. I can't imagine the workload for that. So kudos to the whole IGN team for getting it done. For what is probably the biggest, most hype release of the year. That's got to be one hell of a task.
Yeah, I think, Halo is probably the one most people have their eyes on. They want to know either, like they're either excited about it or they're interested to see about the improvements since the Craig meme was created. You know, they delayed it a year. So like, what is that going to end up looking like? And then, on top of that, they've been dealing with, everybody brings up the COVID thing. I think at this point, we're like, yes, we all know everybody's dealing with COVID. So it's kind of like a given challenge that everybody has equally, right?
That's right.
Yeah, I think it's definitely got a lot of that conversation around it, not just, oh, I'm excited for the game, but you've got a camp that's excited to see the improvements. You've got a camp that, you know, wants to know whether arguably 343 have succeeded in bringing Halo back to the forefront. And they're looking like they got a good shot this year. The flight was well received. We know that Call of Duty Vanguard, I mean, it came out this week.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like, Battlefield is due soon. I know that had a bit of a rough beta, but DICE are a great team and they'll probably come through. Halo's got a shot this year to make a big impact. So I think that's getting a lot of focus from everywhere.
Apparently,
and wasn't there a couple of leaks with Halo as well?
What?
Didn't we get a couple of leaks like the digital?
I don't want to
early
know
access?
anything. If you know something
the
about
digital
the campaign, don't ruin it.
No, nothing like that. I mean, as in there was a leak about a digital early access.
Oh, this was on Twitter.
Bundle. Yeah.
You might not have seen it, Destin, but it's public information. Someone on Twitter found the Microsoft Store listing for an early access bundle. But I can actually kind of debunk that right now. It is nothing. No one should get excited. Like,
aren't those things usually like
testing and validation
or internal testing? Or,
yeah.
And it's so like we used to get all these retail listings. People like, oh, look, this game's coming out the last day of November. It's like, you know, that's a placeholder, right?
Like, don't get excited. But to my knowledge, that store listing that everyone was getting super hyped because it started giving loads of theories. We've got the big anniversary stream next Monday, and people were thinking, oh, are they gonna? I saw Rand and Jez talking about it yesterday on the Xbox 2 podcast. Are they gonna drop Halo Infinite's multiplayer? Boom! Happy anniversary, Xbox
That'd be so
family.
Good.
I mean, don't get me wrong, it'd be very cool, but it'd be really weird to publicly declare this date and have all the marketing driving towards it. And you've got IGN First, which is still in progress, and then boom, suddenly you drop the multiplayer out. It doesn't make sense to me, and to my knowledge, that is just a store thing. It is not an indication of an early release, so no one should get excited whatsoever. I'm sorry to pour water on the flames of hope that were out there that you might play Halo on the 15th of November. It's not going to happen, to my knowledge.
Okay.
I could be wrong.
Okay.
But yeah.
I'd love it. I did.
It would be cool. No denying.
Do you think they'll do another, like, I don't know. I just want to play more Halo.
Yeah, that's what it
like
is.
Another little flight? Is that you're thinking like a one last test flight kind of thing?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think they just go to the 8th.
Yeah, it's not far. I mean, it's my holiday. I can see it in my calendar on Outlook. If I scroll just 1 week more to the right, I can see my holiday book. So, but on that subject, it's Microsoft's 20th anniversary next Monday. Exciting. Yep. What do you, Destin? You know, just pure guesswork. What do you think? What do you think we're going to see? Anything interesting, exciting?
I think they look back at like the history of the console. They look back at like that old design. I think it's going to be a big retrospective about some of the titles that they launched with on the original Xbox and how they ended up where they are today. So I'd like that a lot.
Yep.
Like just I expect that more than any, like I don't think there's going to be any reveals, and I'm pretty sure they probably already sort of said like, hey, don't expect too much, like they have with most of their shows this fall season. And yeah.
Oh, there wouldn't be game reveals or anything like that. That's not the place for it. Like, but I still suspect that might be where we get our rumored backwards compatibility batch of games. I don't know. There's a lot of smoke like coming out about certain things all in the lead up to this. So I wonder if there's stuff they're trying to get organized in time for that stream. I don't know.
Well, I
like, you think it's a scramble?
No, not a scramble per se, but like a lot of these videos, because it's not going to be a live show, it's going to be like a pre-recorded thing. That's how they do it now. They do these pre-recorded things, but generally the way they record them, it's like in segments, and they can chop and change and do whatever it is. And I just wonder if there's stuff that they're trying to get done, hopefully, that they'd like at the stream that maybe they can't get it done. I don't know. Like, how cool would it be if we got like the GoldenEye remake coming?
What, like announced? Because I know there's been
announced. There's like, we bought Rare, and Rare's got a storied history and blah 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 blah. And hey, that GoldenEye remake. Well, guess what? I reckon something like that would be like cool.
I would rather like Fable, a shot of a Fable village or something, like some in-engine shots of Hellblade
from the new game,
or like that, just something, just some updates. I like the little updates that they do. There hasn't been a lot of meat to them. Like the Hellblade 2 thing was sort of, I don't know. Concept. It was really conceptual, and what they've been working on. Even the vignettes, Jurgens has been sort of revealing where they're like burning her leather jacket that she's going to wear during mocap, so that it's authentic for the character. I'm really excited about that game. But we haven't really seen gameplay for a lot of the coming titles.
Yeah,
the GoldenEye was technically sort of remade on the Wii, and I actually think that game wasn't so bad. I like that game, but it just didn't catch on like people had hoped.
Yeah, I mean, I think
nostalgia played a big role in that, though.
Yeah,
people were tied to that 64 game and the way it looked and the way it played, and that's why I think there's so much buzz around the Xbox Live Arcade port. I mean, it leaked online, so people have already downloaded it and started playing it as it is. So you're kind of leaving money on the table by not getting it out there and selling it.
GoldenEye leaked?
Yeah, like the 4J that made the Perfect Dark Xbox Live Arcade, they did make a GoldenEye version for the Xbox 360 back in the day. Nintendo and Microsoft couldn't work it out, and it got shelved, and it never saw the light of day until someone just pushed it out into the internet. And people have played it, and much to Nick's point, there's money just being left on the table. If Microsoft and is it whoever the new owners who bought MGM? Is it Amazon now? I can't remember who bought. But
Danjak is the company that oversees everything Bond in media. Yeah. But I think a lot of the issues around GoldenEye were between Microsoft and Nintendo, because obviously Rare were the developers, but I think Nintendo owns some of the design patents or there's some weird back-end stuff with GoldenEye. It would be nice. Nintendo and Microsoft seem to be very chummy at the moment. It would be nice if maybe they could just work something out and get GoldenEye out there. Because again, this thing's about a celebration of the history of Xbox. Rare is a part of that. So it would be a cool thing to surprise everyone and say, hey, that GoldenEye remake, guess what? Here it is.
Yeah,
or it's coming or whatever. It'd be cool.
I'm sure it'll be as great as everybody remembers.
It will not. I will load up our job. It will be terrible, and then I'll never play it again. But I don't know. I think that there's probably, I know there's been some movement with the copyright and stuff like that. I saw online, someone saw it had been refreshed in some fashion. But I mean, to Destin's point earlier, I think they came out publicly. I'm sure Aaron Greenberg tweeted and said, there's not going to be any new game reveals, right? Do I count new game? I mean, could they be playing wordplay there? I think it's almost a little bit wishful thinking. My gut feel is, to Destin's point, here's the history of the Xbox. Here's some interviews with some people that you might remember, like Ed Freeze and Seamus Blackley and da-da-da-da-da. Here's what it used to look like. Here's what games made it special, da-da-da. And then when they say new games, we might get some sneak peeks at some already announced games that I could see happening, like just some refreshes of things like Fable.
Yeah.
Because it's linked to the original Xbox. I fully expect something campaign related from Halo Infinite on that show because it's Halo and it made the original Xbox. But outside of that, I'm not actually expecting too much on Monday. Having said that, Jez, again from Windows Central on the Xbox 2 podcast, he alluded that everyone should watch it. It will be worthwhile. Jez is not normally a hype man, so perhaps he knows something we don't.
For me, backwards compatibility would be enough. It's been too long since we've had a new batch of backwards compatible games, and especially OG games. Like there's still, how many OG backwards compatible games are there on Xbox One? It's like 30 or so, isn't it? Only like 30 or 40? It's not a lot. I mean, 360's got 500 or 600 of them, but OG Xbox needs a lot more. Like it'd be nice to get.
What else do you need, Nick?
Yeah, well, you're right. If you're right, you're right. Far Cry 3 is all you need.
It's all you need.
What would be your dream titles to work on Xbox? No, seriously, or Series X?
I'd love the Dead or Alives, Ultimate 3, 4, Sega Soccer Slam. What else? I mean, they promised us Halo 1 and 2, and we still don't have them yet.
I don't think,
which I find very weird. But hold on. But this is the weird thing. Everyone's like Master Chief Collection. This was announced after the Master Chief Collection existed.
I know.
So when they revealed the OG Xbox backwards compatibility, they said, "Hey, look, Halo 1 and 2 are going to come, and here they are running on LAN across all 3 generations or 4 generations of consoles." Blah 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 blah. And then we just never saw them. They just never happened.
Yeah.
Which I find a little bit odd.
I get your point, but things change, priorities change, development changes. I mean, they've added so much into the Master Chief Collection now that went above and beyond, considering how broken it was, considering in what state it landed, that I can't really hold a grudge if they don't make my very scratched Halo DVD from 2001 work in my Xbox Series X.
I don't know.
Not too bothered.
It's the principle of it. It's technically capable. There's no licensing issues. There's no reason for it not to be backwards compatible.
Yeah.
Really.
I mean, I get it. But for me, I mean, I'd like to see things like Otogi. Do you remember the Otogi games from the OG Xbox?
Gun Valkyrie.
From Software made those. I'd love to see them come back. Yeah, Gun Valkyrie is a really, really good shout.
I'd love the From Software games to get an update.
Yeah, good luck with
so
that.
They're not running at what, 900p or whatever.
Yeah. Can you imagine? But yeah, Mech Assault is probably my biggest one. Mech Assault 1 and 2. But I understand that the copyright there is equally nebulous and
messy.
Weird.
Yep.
Which is a shame because they were both really, really good games of my childhood, like running around destroying cities, playing online again with people would be really nice. But obviously the old Xbox Live network is dead. So even if they did release it, it would just be single player campaigns only, and that wouldn't have the same magic for me.
Final Fantasy 11. That's mine. Not 14, 11. I don't know what happened with 14, but apparently it's never coming to Xbox. Even though they keep saying its news is coming. They've been saying that for like 7 years.
I swear I've read that headline for literally the last decade of it's going to come to Xbox at some point, and it never does. Very odd.
I interviewed them and I asked them that question like a lot when like the first expansion came to 14. So whenever that was.
Yep.
And just nothing.
And just nothing.
Still not on Xbox. Yeah. Still no news. Still not on Xbox.
Wow. It's bizarre. I wonder what's going on there. Because
it's Sony wants to have a good relationship with the Final Fantasy games. Obviously, we still don't have 7 on Xbox.
So
the remake.
No, that's right. And I wouldn't hold my breath for it either.
Yeah, and then there's 16 is coming out, and that's no exclusive, no announcement for Xbox. Yeah. So something's going on with Square and Sony. They're chummy.
They're very chummy when it comes to Final Fantasy, that's for sure. Because we say there's something going on, but then equally Crystal Dynamics is developing Perfect Dark, and they're owned by Square.
Square's more chummy with Sony than they are their own studio, Crystal Dynamics.
Yeah, I presume you're referencing the interview where he's like, I'm very disappointed in my team.
Yeah, that was nice of them to push Crystal Dynamics under the bus like that, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was
really nice.
Some interesting wording. I do wonder how much.
Who said that?
The head of Square.
They were
disappointed.
They said that they were a bit. They said that Crystal Dynamics probably wasn't the best fit or something for a games as a service Avengers game or something like that, something along those lines. And I'm like, oh wow, that's interesting, because I doubt Crystal Dynamics chose to make it a games as a service game.
Yeah,
given what they're known for.
Wow.
Can you imagine that? Your boss
I don't
just
know.
dragging
Maybe you should pay People Can Fly.
Yeah. Man. Poor
People Can Fly was throwing shade at them not that long ago. They're like, hey, yeah, apparently the deal you struck wasn't that good because we haven't been paid yet.
Wow.
Well, you remember that, right? The whole Outriders thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I do. Did we ever get an update on that? Did they get that sorted?
No.
Or is it just
I'm willing to bet somebody's phone rang though after that. after that, investors.
Yeah, very much so.
Awkward.
Yep.
But speaking of legacy platforms and all sorts of things, the other interesting piece of news this week that happened early on was, and I think, Nick, your T-shirt may be in reference to this unique partnership.
Yes.
Sega and Microsoft. I've seen a lot of the theorizing online. They announced it as a strategic partnership in principle.
Partnership or alliance? Their wording, they always choose their wording very carefully in these things. Did they say alliance or partnership?
I think
I thought it was an alliance.
But I think they use both those words.
Yeah. But apparently developing a super game. I have no idea what a super game is. If you ever play one, please let me know. But Sega apparently are working with Microsoft and on their Azure platform. A lot of people theorizing that could be the prelude to something more. What do you reckon?
Well,
Destin?
yeah.
I think it's nothing. I think it'll be some really small game, and I think what Xbox is doing that has sort of been hinted about is that they're trying out all these partnerships and just trying to play nice with as many people as they can, and then they'll make a decision if they choose to bring somebody else into the fold. Like, they worked very closely with the team at Bethesda for many, many years before that mega purchase happened, right?
Yeah.
They had always been close since the Oblivion days, basically, because you remember that was a 360 exclusive.
Indeed.
Yeah, and there's been so many rumors like they're going to buy 2K, they're going to buy Sega, they're going to buy, Square, all of these things happening. And then finally we find out it's an alliance basically to make help Sega make their super game. I think that it will be some sort of MMO, Fantasy Star Online New Genesis, right? That has been Xbox exclusive, at least in the West, for some time now, and people adore Fantasy Star Online. The people who play it, they love that game. So I think it'll be something like that. I think it's a new IP. I think they said that in the press release, actually. So I don't think it will necessarily be a new Fantasy Star, so to speak. But yeah.
But it wasn't just about a game specifically, though. It was about
the cloud.
Yes, and development environments, and I got invited onto Boom's podcast where they talked about it a lot, because there was a lot of Sega fans on that podcast, and I made comment there that there's a lot of people that are trying to liken it to the Sony deal with Microsoft, which is a little bit different. The Sony deal is more, they were talking about cloud-powered AI with that deal. They were talking about relating it back to Sony's sensors and all sorts of stuff. This feels a bit different in that it's about the development environment for Sega and being able to scale and all these other things. It almost feels like Microsoft is between GameStack, between PlayFab, between Azure, between all these things they're doing. It feels like they're effectively trying to make themselves the backbone of game development in a way. They're trying to be everyone's tools for everything.
Well, that's the thing about Xbox, and like, it's really. I released a video recently that right before this, of course, people are talking about how they want to punch me. So I'm like, oh, great, that's great to go into the show reading about. But anyway, I think Microsoft is at a crucial point right now with the release of Forza. I think people have realized, even the naysayers are kind of like, all right, Forza Horizon 5 is stellar. Like it's stellar on a level that even Forza Horizon 4 wasn't. They've managed to speak to a wide variety of people like myself that are very casual racing fans who are just like, this is just striking just all the right notes, right? And then you look at other things on the Xbox platform. People are there's some people out there that are still married to the idea of their box being the main thing, and Xbox they're just not playing that game anymore, and they haven't been playing that game for like 2 years now, at least since the launch of the Series X and the Series S. Xbox means PC, it means console, it means cloud, and there's rumors that like Xbox is going to be playable on Samsung televisions with that partnership soon over the X Cloud, and Sony's going to do the same thing eventually. Yeah. And it's just so interesting that people like get really upset when you refer to things in the Xbox ecosystem as opposed to the box. They're really set on it has to only come out on the console.
Yeah.
And Xbox is like, well, why don't we have to play by those rules? We don't. No one makes those. There's no rule that a game can only come out on one thing. And Sony's getting wise to it. PlayStation, PC.
Money on the table.
They're like, we're leaving so much money on the table. Sony's even saying this, right? Why are we doing this again?
Because
that's right.
Yeah. So I think Sony's going to be releasing more stuff on PC. I think Xbox is. I think the entire gaming landscape is going to change over the next 5 to 10 years, where we're playing on our televisions and the box is going to come. The box will still exist. I don't think boxes are going to go away.
Yeah.
There was, like, what, 3 years ago we were talking about, like, is there going to be a next generation of consoles? It's if you think about it, it's kind of an old idea. We've been playing on boxes that do one very specific function since the days of beta. Right? The days of the VCR. Where are VCRs today?
That's right.
Look at the movie industry. Look at the music industry. It's a very much a matter of time. And there's a lot of people that we have one guy on the XboxEra team, chat named Chris or ZDocs. He's very much like cloud is the future. Like I look forward to being able to just stream wherever I want. I went to a kid's birthday party today, and I was out. I took my Razer Kishi with me. Screaming 4-year-olds around. It was just I was the only dad, and then all the other dads came in, but they were all standing around and trying to hide away. And I was like, I'm antisocial most of the time, so I just got my Razer Kishi out, and I'm like, I just started playing Forza Horizon 5, streaming it from here, 2 miles down the road. And a couple of dads came over, and what's that? And I was like, oh, yeah. And they were all just like standing around watching me play Forza. But that, yes, it's coming from the box, and eventually that could be just coming straight from the cloud. But that ease of just being able to play wherever I am, no matter what I'm doing. I've done it when I've gone on business trips where I don't have to take the box with me and worry about a power transfer plug to make it work in the socket in whatever country I'm in. I can just play and it will just work on hotel Wi-Fi. It's glorious. The more that comes, and it should be. And we've seen Sony have made their PC brand now officially. They renamed they renamed mobile to Sony?
PlayStation PC.
Yeah.
So it's going to happen.
Somebody brought up Nintendo. They said Insanity says Nintendo is like 20 years away from even thinking about releasing games on PC. Nintendo's sort of playing to their own tune, though. They just went 3 months before having somebody beat their sales of the Switch. And the Switch is really interesting. You can dock it, yes, and play it on your television, but I bet most kids are just playing it
on the go. Right. And that's the demographic that they go for. They have a younger demographic. Yes, people like myself play the new Metroid and everything. But it's going to be interesting to see what they choose to do with the next generation of gaming. Right. I don't think the box is going to go the way of the VCR. I didn't mean to imply that. No.
But I'm just pointing out, like, look at how the movie industry evolved. Game Pass is called the Netflix of gaming. Well, maybe you should look at the history of that entire movie branch and how they have shifted.
Yeah,
because gaming will likely do similar things once the technology catches up.
Yeah,
that's the issue at the moment. It's the infrastructure that's not there.
Yeah, the internet
to support it. To support it globally. Like, I've tried xCloud a few times and it still acts a little bit funny. Other people try it and it's near flawless. Then other people try it and it doesn't work at all until we get, like, if the global infrastructure of the internet, for want of a better phrase, could support it, I'm sure the adoption of streaming everything would have already increased by now. And we'd probably already have the apps on our TVs and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But right there, it's not ready yet. It's on its way, but it's not there yet.
I don't think.
One person's going to come along and they're sorry to interrupt you. One person's going to come along and they're going to innovate in the way that Tesla innovated the car industry. Right now, everybody's trying to get in on the electric car market.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah, it's. I don't think local hardware, like, there's always a nice desire to have everything here. I don't think that's necessarily going to go away. But the way Microsoft have done it is they've made the local hardware, but then they've made it so that if you develop for that local hardware, that's the same stuff they've got sitting in a server rack somewhere by the thousands, and it makes development easy. It brings that cost down. You don't have to develop for Stadia versus developing for Xbox. You just develop for the platform, and the games just work. I think that's smart. It'd be very interesting. I think this is definitely the most interesting gen for a long, long time since the switch to HD has been, like, since the 360 gen. This is the one that's like, everyone's got a game plan, it seems.
Yeah.
So it's going to be fun to watch.
I might have a big bombshell here for your audience, but those boxes that we all play on, they're actually PCs.
Yeah.
They have motherboards, they have memory, they have graphics cards. They're just a PC that's locked out.
Yeah, exactly right.
Look, the boxes won't go away. I mean, Microsoft makes Windows, but they still sell their own computers. Like, if anything, Microsoft has increased their presence in the hardware space because they understand that there's value to it, and
you've got to evangelize your platform. You've got to lead the way.
That's right.
Show everybody else how to make stuff, and that's where they screwed up over the last. I mean, look, the Xbox One gen was a rough gen if you're an Xbox fan. It was not a fun time. There wasn't much to be excited about until the latter part, where it's the slow boat that is Microsoft started to turn a little bit. But it's very clear they got a vision now, so I'm very intrigued to see where it ends up.
Their numbers, though, the whole thing that they do where they kind of muddle their numbers with the Microsoft numbers purposefully. I think someone's going to step in, like either their investors or like the FCA is going to be like, yeah, you can't do that anymore. Because I think eventually stockholders want a little bit clearer picture about how Game Pass is faring.
Yeah.
And I am a little curious how long they're going to be able to do this. Like, that's okay. All right. I guess they can do that.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're waiting for the Forza Horizon 5 Halo Infinite spike to tip it over a certain number, and then they go, oh, well, this is how many we've got now. Because Nintendo and Sony, like, even when their numbers weren't huge, they both had no problem giving out their numbers. No problem whatsoever. I mean, have a look. PlayStation Now was at barely 1 million, and Sony just said, yep, 1 million subscribers. That's what we've got on PS Now. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Where Microsoft
was
doesn't
that their
seem
last
to want
public
to.
numbers for PS Now, Nick?
I don't know if it was their last public, but it was sometime in 2020. They said they were at like around 1 million back then. But the point was, everyone was shocked at how low it was, but Sony was just up front. They were like, yep, we've got about 1 million. That's what we have. We're trying to grow it, and we have this and we have that. This is
According
what it is.
to an
If
article
that service
from Push Square in May 2021, PS Now has a respectable 3.2 million, apparently.
Oh, there you go. So they have increased since then. But that's what I mean. Like, that's their number, and they say it. They've got no problem giving the number. It just is what it is.
Microsoft are a bit shady when it comes to reporting on numbers for things. As soon as they stopped winning sales things, we worry about MAUs now. That's the important number we all care about.
They just had a big bump in, I think it was monthly active users, or it was like there was something that took like a 2 million hit deficit, but then it came back in this last earnings call and it was like up 4 million. So not only did they make up the deficit, but they increased by 2 million. I found that really interesting. But then, or maybe it was monthly active users that were at like the lowest point, which was very confusing to me because I'm like, you're selling more games than you've ever sold. So people are buying games, but your monthly active users are down, which just didn't make any sense to me. Like I don't know how that would even happen. So that was weird. I have to imagine maybe like next quarter or whatever, we'll see like a huge surge because maybe it has something to do when the data is pulled.
Yeah.
Right? You're telling me no, like I played Death Stranding when it was re-released and Ghost of Tsushima. You're telling me people didn't play those games? That's not true. Like,
there's got to be more to it than that.
Yeah, there's something there. I'm just curious.
But yeah,
I reckon Microsoft's waiting for the bump. I reckon they're waiting for the Forza Halo 30. Bump, and then they'll probably say something.
You think they're waiting to hit that 30 million number after the who was he talking to? Was it
Zelnick, Strauss Zelnick, yeah. Or they're at least waiting to like comfortably have 25 maybe locked away or something like that. I don't know. Just maybe they're waiting for a number that looks good. I don't know.
Didn't Jez say they were at 23 million at the beginning of the year or something like that? But that's not their only official number is 18 million.
Yeah, that's the only official number that's out there, which Phil said himself
years ago.
which Phil said himself to Strauss. He's like, no, our last public number was 18.
Yeah.
And that's what they're sticking to for now.
I'll be very intrigued. We'll see. I'm surprised on the investors' calls that you don't have a stakeholder just go, what is your Game Pass subscriber number like?
Yeah.
Like, just ask the question out there. Come on. And then we'll see.
They ask a lot about Xbox on those calls because those numbers are so muddled in with the stats. Everything else is pretty clear, like software sales and a lot of their other initiatives. But then Xbox is for some reason just purposefully obscured. And I think that's a strategy because they got tired of just like people celebrating their failure. And they're kind of like, well, our goal, we're not just about the box anymore.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, and people who get that. People who don't say they want to punch me in the face. So,
I'm all right. Why so much violence, Destin? What's it all
I don't know, dude.
You're like
I record these vlogs on my YouTube channel at 1:30 in the morning, and oh my goodness, if they break 20,000 views, I don't have a good weekend. Let's just
you get a black eye. Yeah. Well, it's an interesting segue because when we have guests on, I do often like to try and dig into a little bit. And obviously, you know, we know who you are. We've been watching you, you know, Fire Team podcast and all of that sort of thing for a long, long time. But just in case there's one viewer right now who does not know who you are, how did you get into the industry? How did you end up at IGN doing what you do and with your YouTube channel and things like that? I know that. Try and nutshell it if you can.
Oh, you want to nutshell it? Okay. Well, I started in IGN like 10 years ago. I was doing like, oh wow, you got the whole lower third.
Oh yeah,
going. Yeah.
Come on, mate. We've got to promote you, mate. We've got to promote you.
I don't do the Twitch so much anymore. Let's do the YouTube.
Don't you?
Yeah, I do it once in a while, but yeah. Anyway. How did I get in? I worked at IGN for like 10 years. I was making like guide videos. I started doing features like how scary is, the IGN First. You know, I'd work on those, learn how to use a camera, and started shooting like interviews with Ed Boon and whoever. I do Twitch still. You can put the Twitch back there. It's all right. I just don't do it that much because I got a baby. I had a baby.
Congrats on the baby, by the way.
No, so I started doing the YouTube thing because, like, for me, I really need an outlet to just like talk, and I kind of got to this point where, like, I just wanted to do more of the YouTube thing because I did like some video about the day Xbox almost died. Right, I did that video because it was on my mind, and I've always liked Xbox. I've been on Unlock for like 9 years, and then I start making videos about Xbox, and they're like, this person's bias, here's proof of his bias and all that. And I'm like, well, I've always been very upfront that I prefer the Xbox brand. I've been upfront about that for 15 years, right? That doesn't mean I like hate Sony. I love a lot of Sony games, like Returnal's on my Game of the Year runner just this year. I did this awesome performance review, which is basically the IGN version of what Digital Foundry does. About Spider-Man, the Miles Morales DLC, which is great, and they scaled it incredibly well on all platforms. So like I started making these videos on YouTube, and the first one I did was about Phil Spencer and how he kind of was given the choice to basically let Xbox die or, keep going and bring us to where we are today. So that was really interesting. And I talked about it, and it did better than I ever thought it would. And I'm like, well, I guess I'll just keep doing these late night vlogs. They were just things that I was recording late. And that's how I started doing the YouTube thing. Did I answer your question?
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an interesting one. How do you balance, between, working in IGN and working in that industry, and then
poorly?
I was going to answer because
I
have full-time jobs. I mean, a lot of the XboxEra team all do, and we all do this in very much a spare time thing, and we like to think we can keep up with the IGNs of this world to a degree with our production values and all of that jazz. But it is bloody hard work, and especially with a baby in tow, I imagine that this year's probably been a bit of a challenge.
Oh yeah, for sure. So let me think. So I started doing the YouTube thing, and I realized I had been doing a video a day, just talking about whatever. So I set this goal for myself to do a video every day for the YouTube. I record these usually when my son wakes me up at 1:30 a.m. So my son will wake me up. He was consistently waking me up at 1:30 a.m. for like 3-4 months every night.
Wow.
And he still wakes up at that time pretty consistently. So I go, I help put him back to bed, and then I'm like, okay, I'm up. What am I going to do at this time? And I started making these vlog videos where I just talk about whatever's going on in the industry. And I'll admit, sometimes I get the numbers wrong and people call me out on that. And I'm like, okay, well,
it's 1:30 in the morning. Give me a break.
I was about to say, you're recording at 1:30 in the morning.
Yeah. Well, I think part of it is I got the jacket. I got a nice looking set. People think I should know every single little detail off the top of my head, but I'm like, I try and be very clear. The goal is to just make a blog where I talk about what's going on in the industry. And I love having a dialogue with the audience. Yeah. I don't love it when I think one of my biggest pet peeves are people have started to regularly take me out of context. And that I think that's more where the animosity comes from. Right. So people take a very specific snippet. They did this to Colin Moriarty not that long ago. You might have even talked about it on your show, where Colin said something within a 2-hour podcast, he said something and he was taken and whatever. So, so that happens to me a lot also. And I think that's the most annoying challenge. Yeah. But at this point, I'm just kind of I'm just going to keep doing the YouTube thing anyway. People have made up their mind based on clips on Twitter usually. We'll just whatever. Maybe they'll check out the YouTube channel and actually get full context, and then we can have a dialogue. Or they can just be hateful and nasty on Twitter, and I'll just block them.
Yeah, and Reddit. Reddit, they're nasty too.
Right. Nothing on Reddit yet.
I cop it on Reddit as well. Yeah. I will say, Destin, I've listened to and watched Unlocked for a long time, and there's a very notable absence on your shelf that I'm kind of surprised not to see there in the background.
Right.
Because didn't you win the Unblocked trivia a couple of times?
That's the trivia. That's the first one I won.
Where is it? Where is it?
That's the Dookie.
Oh, is that it there?
And then the one
because I was looking for the controller, and I'm like, where is it?
You can't. Sorry, what?
I was looking for the controller in the background. I'm like, where is it? I know he won one of them.
That's the Dookie.
Oh, is that it?
There's another one in the garage, and there's another one out of frame. It's up here because it can't fit on the shelf. It's too tall. It's the hand. I've won 3 of the Unlocked trivias.
Nice.
Yes.
Nicely done.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I've got a couple of super chats here as well. We've got Faisal in the chat. He says, "Hello, friends, and welcome, Destin. It's 3:50 a.m. where I am. I'm jet lagged and watching at 1.5 speed to catch up. Don't forget to like, folks, and sub to Destin too."
Thank you so much.
We've also got one from Jake, who's asking me what flavor I'm vaping. I love coffee flavors. Coffee is delicious, but I'm a coffee in the morning, and that's it. This is just bubblegum, strawberry, and kiwi fruit, believe it or not. Sorry, vaping questions. I know.
Quit smaking, man.
Trav called me out. He said that explains your Abandoned has to be Kojima video, because right after I made that video, they super came out. They're like, "We're not Kojima." They did all the interviews, and I was like, "Well, the video's out there, whatever." I still have this small part of me that still thinks it's somehow a big marketing scheme for a new Kojima game.
It's not.
I know it's not. It's not. But like at this point, I'm just like, well, what the hell is it then?
Yeah,
because there's still nothing.
I just don't see that developer being
okay.
I don't see that developer who's tried to release and then not released so many.
That's
games,
right. He's done it many times before.
I would not give this guy a license to an IP of that nature.
Well, no, they had like high level executives retweeting the whole abandoned thing. Like, I think Shuhei, was like quote tweeting thing like congrats and all that stuff, and then it's like, oh, everything doesn't work right, and it's too suspicious to just. Like,
I get it.
Is it really just a big disaster? Is it really just a big disaster? Because if that's true, that's a problem. If it is a whole thing at this point, like I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't think that's the issue.
Marketing scheme.
I think people can't, and understandably, can't process that somehow this guy has possibly not, got to choose the words, not fooled Sony per se, but somehow this guy has.
There's no way it's like a big trick that they're playing on Sony.
Oh, not a trick, as in like, if you look at this guy's history, this has happened with him a few times where he's promised things and then hasn't been able to deliver or whatever the case may be. So the track record is there. So I think people are struggling to understand how this could have got through Sony as well.
I'll believe I'm wrong when we actually see whatever Abandoned is.
You're never going to see it.
I can't give it up.
I
fully realize I'm not being logical. It's just like a gut thing, right? I'm like, there's no way that he's just like that their team is just failing that poorly, right?
Yeah.
and like, well, there's also the other level where like they're actually getting hate, and I don't condone that at all. Like,
no,
absolutely don't. I'm just curious, like, what is happening with this thing? It's a thing. It's something.
It's a thing.
It's something. I don't think it's just like, oh, it's just some abandoned game. It is something else, but I don't know. They're trying to do something like ARG or whatever it's called.
Hopefully we'll find out soon enough.
I'm very intrigued to see what it all ends up being, but I don't think we're going to see anything more this year.
Somebody set me off on Abandoned. I'm sorry.
We'll blame Crab for that one.
That'll be Agro's clip for the week, right?
Yeah. One more super chat from Gecko Gamer. Interesting question, a tangent, if you will. What do we think is going to be necessary to preserve video games long term, 50 years and beyond?
There is big investment.
Yeah, there's a company or a museum or a fund out there that is doing video game preservation. But I think it's easier the more digital stuff becomes, but anything server based is going to be very difficult to keep online.
Yeah.
Right? If the servers switch off, there's nothing for you to run.
Well, this is actually a really important topic. I was one of the first people to talk about the DRM issues with the Xbox console, and it's become more and more prevalent as Sony has corrected a lot of the problems with their platforms. Now it's like, Xbox, your turn. This is something I think it's fair to criticize Xbox and stuff. We didn't really talk about the Forza day one, not really day one, November 9th, November 5th. Like, people thought that was just a big troll, but I have friends that are casually interested in gaming who were confused by the marketing. So like, I think that's a challenge Microsoft is going to have to address. I think that, what were we talking about there just now? I lost my train of thought. Somebody called me pompous.
About preservation. Preservation.
Pompous.
Who called you pompous?
Yeah.
We'll get rid of it,
Nick?
About preservation, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, so preservation. So the DRM issue with the Xbox, like, that needs to be addressed, because you can buy games right now and put them in, and you can't play them until you download an update. That's something that, like, I hope that's not the direction we're going. Steam's done a pretty good job over the years. Like, they've been around longer than anybody, but games like the Grand Theft Auto original trilogy getting pulled off, it's just like, it's not available. It's just gone. Unless you have purchased it, then you can still download it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Well, it's an interesting one on the DRM front. I mean, I think Microsoft have got to where they wanted to go in 2013, but they've just done it the right way. This is exactly where Microsoft
way.
yeah, this is exactly where they wanted to be, in this world where the digital box was prevalent, and the world has naturally caught up to this original idea that they tried to push at the wrong time with the wrong message. And now they're kind of where they wanted to land, more or less. In a more digital future where the predominant game sales are done online and it's not a physical copy
and not just
anymore.
That, but with a subscription, which is Microsoft's favorite thing.
So
they love this.
It's just interesting. As a consumer, I don't care about $1 billion, $1 trillion in this instance company and how well they're doing. I care about how much money I get to save. So Game Pass is great because it's convenient, it's easy. But really, it is what they wanted to do, or the direction at least they wanted to go when they originally announced the Xbox One, before, due to backlash, because the world just wasn't really ready for this line of thinking, pushed back, and they had to change course, right? I mean, do you agree with that? Do you think that this is a world where they're kind of realizing some of that vision?
Well, I mean, the whole thing for me is Xbox said that all of your games will be able to be played back when the Xbox One launched. I was there when Phil Spencer talked about that. I'm like, whoa, that's actually a big deal. How are they going to be able to do that? Right. I'm just going to say it, like, it's not something that I feel super passionately about, game preservation. I think it's important to discuss DRM. And I'm glad to see that Sony has addressed a lot of those issues with their PlayStation 4. And I think they fixed the PlayStation 5 also. Yeah. I hope Xbox...
That's that CMOS battery thing, right?
Pardon?
That's that CMOS battery thing you're talking about? Yeah.
Yeah, the C-bomb. So, like, I hope that gets addressed on the Xbox side, because I know it's important to a lot of people. But if you ask me about the importance of it, it's like, am I... missing the days of MS-DOS games, like the X-Men arcade MS-DOS game? Did you ever play those games? They're terrible.
Yeah.
Like, so I don't know, like, you think about an MS-DOS game like that, it's software, it's code, but that ran on stuff that, they had tubes inside of the hardware that was utilized to run the stuff back then. Some of the earliest games that I played were coded in BASIC. Not QBasic, mind you, basic, where you'd have to write the line of code before you could write print, whatever, to make it actually draw a pixel on the screen. So I think we're going to lose a lot of things is the real answer. Like, when we're looking back at the Series X 50 years from now, right? I think a lot of stuff is going to get lost.
Yeah.
And
I think
some stuff will. Inevitably.
We'll quote Jim Ryan and just say, who'd want to play those? Right? It would be like,
I don't just mean I just mean for everything.
Yeah.
For Sony, for Xbox, for whoever, 50, 100 years from now, 100 years from now, how many NES carts are still going to be around? How is that going to be preserved? Will they even function?
Yeah.
Well, that's
a
the
really
other
interesting question.
Mm-hmm. It's like my comic book from 1990 or, yellow now. Or my Super Nintendo, it's all yellowed because of the what is it? It's an oxidization issue with the plastic. So game preservation is important to a lot of people, and it's a very interesting topic. I'm sorry to interrupt everybody.
No,
but it's one that I think I personally see that it's important to people, but I also personally realize, I'm like, hey, look, like, you can fight that battle if that's super important to you. But I think the truth is we're going to lose a lot of software in 50, 100 years. A lot of it's just going to become vaporware and go away.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, some of it is some of it will be by virtue of, like, the Kinect games, for example. I don't know how many people are going to expect to play those Kinect games in 50 years unless they have an Xbox One still with Kinect hooked up. That's just the nature of the beast. That stuff's not supported anymore. I don't know. I mean, I don't mind the way Microsoft is at least attempting to keep their entire history as intact as they can.
I appreciate that a lot.
Yeah. I don't think a lot of us probably... because we're not aware of all the machinations and the back end stuff and the back room stuff, I don't think many of us have probably truly grasped the hurdle that licensing is.
Yeah. I'd agree with that.
It's a big deal, licensing. Like, in a way, like, some people tell me something new about licensing almost every day. Like, there's so much stuff to it.
I can't even play the original version of Super Meat Boy. It doesn't have the music.
Yeah.
Like, there was that whole dispute between the two creators, and like, I think if you re-download on like Xbox, I don't even know if that has the original music unless you have it like still installed on a hard drive somewhere.
Look at Crazy Taxi.
Oh,
it was Crazy Taxi was forever. Crazy Taxi was forever changed because of music licensing. And sometimes the licensing goes to minuscule levels. Like, maybe there was an in-game can of Coke or something like that can't be there anymore. Like, it's incredible.
For some reason, I just had a nightmarish flashback to the Airwaves chewing gum product placement in Splinter Cell Pandora Tomorrow. Like, it just flashed in my brain. I remember seeing that at the time and being like, what is this? Like,
that's what I mean. It's bizarre. A big hurdle. Like, we've talked about it before. Even with those cartridges, it's still a license. You have a license to play the game. I know Nintendo's not going to come to your door and take away the NES cart from you, but in the end, you own a license to play that game. It just happens to be on a cart, which is probably why they all love digital so much now, because now it's very easy for them to take away your rights to play a game that you own.
Well, I mean, we're all forgetting the fact that we can just subscribe to a fantastic service like Nintendo's expansion cart and play flawless versions of original Nintendo games with no flaws.
That's interesting. Flawless, no flaws.
Flawless,
interesting
perfect.
wording.
That's what I've heard. There's no issues whatsoever with those digital re-releases.
Don't get me started.
Yeah, the fog is gone. The fog is gone. There's no more Nintendo 64 fog. It's great.
I'm obviously being facetious.
I know. Oh, damn you, Nintendo.
Having said that, though, can we talk about the day one thing?
Yeah, we can talk about the day one thing.
Like, because it's funny. Again, this was one of those controversies that I woke up to about the day one thing. And then, I don't know, I just found it a bit odd because they've been doing this with Forza Horizon specifically since, I think, 2. And EA's done it, Sega's done it. They've all done the early access thing. But my thing was more, because I watched your video on it, Destin, and I agree with you.
I hate the early access thing, just generally. Yeah.
I agree with you in that their messaging was bad. Like, the Forza Horizon marketing team were acting like launch day was the early access launch day, which is wrong.
Yeah.
I personally don't have a problem with the early access thing. These companies are they're finding ways because gamers don't like paying more as standard. $60 American has been the price forever and a day, despite the fact that development of games has exploded in cost. Gamers don't want to pay any more than their 60.
Yeah, I'd like to clarify when you're done, by the way, what I mean.
Yeah, that's fine. So publishers are finding any way they can to get more money to try and recoup that investment. I think early access is probably the least egregious of all the options that they've chosen, like loot boxes and this and that and the other. It's probably the least egregious. Like, it kind of goes back to the whole physical and digital. Like, most of us grew up in a world where video games were physical only. So a game goes gold maybe a month beforehand, and then they have to get their discs printed or their cartridges made, and then they've got to get their box art in, and they've got to ship it all around the world to have it ready for release day, the day that they have said this game comes out. As digital becomes more and more prevalent, things are going to change. Like, when a game goes gold, it's technically ready to release digitally. They could just theoretically release it almost that day. I feel like they were always going to find a way to let people get it early in a digital world. If people are willing to pay the money, have at it. Like, I don't know. But I agree that the messaging should be right. They shouldn't be talking about the launch of the early access version as if that's launch day.
Yeah. It's a phrase. It's a language issue, really, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because everywhere, day one on Game Pass.
Yeah.
When the Forza team comes out, like, join us for launch day, November
That's right.
5th.
Yeah.
You know,
100%.
And that's really it of it. So everybody is talking about Forza, right? Even if you're not playing the game, you're talking about Forza and probably bringing up Gran Turismo.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. Like everyone's going to have a different opinion.
It causes a little bit of confusion for people who aren't as like in the know as we are, who are excited and want to play it. Oh, you got to wait till November 9th. Why do I have to wait till November 9th? Everybody's talking about how it's out. It's launch day.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And it's as simple as that. I don't care if they do early access. I think it's something they have to figure out the marketing for, because day one on 100%. Game Pass now doesn't quite mean day one when your other marketing is also saying, well, day one is here, but this is day one for early access. Day one is actually November. Like that whole explanation.
No.
It's almost comical, right?
And Microsoft's no stranger to bad messaging.
They're the experts.
And that's the thing. Like where I was getting into some arguments was a lot of people getting upset about the fact that the early access exists. And I'm just like, why? It's been around forever and a day. Like now that digital is a thing, I'm shocked it didn't start happening earlier. Like,
just makes coverage annoying because I never know when the hell anything's coming out anymore. You've been marketing November 5th, November 9th to me for like a year.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, by the way, we're doing early access on the 5th. I'm like, okay, I got to change my whole coverage plan.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I think as well, it's got a thing of
annoying.
Like, if it was early access and they literally were like, you can play the game 4 days early, give us 20 quid, and that was it, I would have a problem with that. I would think like, you're literally just give us money and we'll let you play a bit earlier. And that's purely,
you're monetizing FOMO.
Yeah, you're exploiting a person's desire to get in and play the new thing, right? But the fact is that this early access is the premium edition, and one of the benefits, along with all of the yet to be announced DLC, and you get a bunch of this and a bunch of that. That's less egregious to me. That's like, okay, it's one of the perks. But it is still because they get that viral marketing bump that we've seen. And then, how can I play? I want to play. I want to be part of the conversation. Give us your money. And it's savvy and it's business, and I get it. But it doesn't feel right. It feels a bit wrong. And the language they used really hurt them, I think.
100% on Destin's point that their marketing and their messaging is bad around it. They shouldn't have bothered even talking about the fact that the game is out for some people. Let the people who want to seek it out discover it.
Don't call it launch day. Launch day is November 9th.
That's right.
Like, very simple. Launch day is November 9th. Hey, if you're an early access person, it's available now. Like, there's got to be a little more careful with it. That's it.
Yeah, 100%. Like, in the end, launch release dates have always existed. Like, they are what they are. So Game Pass subscribers still get it day one. They get it November 9, which is the official launch day. Now, if you want to call launch day a marketing term or whatever it is, go for it. But in the end, November 9 is launch day. So Game Pass subscribers are still getting it on day one. Having said that, even Game Pass subscribers can pay or buy an extra
that's what they can do.
Pathway to get it early as well. Mm-hmm. So I don't know.
It's just
the messaging, the messaging 100%. But the principle, the existence of early access, I would have assumed people would expect it in a digital world.
Yeah. One thing we all should just keep in mind is that like everybody probably watching this show, everybody on Twitter, we make up like what 10% of people who purchase video games. If that. Call of Duty is going to outsell everything this year. Everybody and their grandma is going to get their Call of Duty fix this year. That will be one of the best-selling games yet again. Even with all the controversy happening in Activision right now, even with all this Game Pass stuff we're talking right now, most people don't know. They just don't. And they're going to sign on November 9th. And then we're like, oh, Forza's here. I'm ready to play. And they're not even going to know any of this happened.
Yeah,
is it an important conversation to have? Yes, but at the end of the day, Call of Duty will outsell everything.
No. I'm with you because I was having the argument on a forum, and someone pointed me to you. Oh, well, Destin said this, and I was like, okay. So I watched the video, and I'm like, I agree with Destin.
You didn't just watch a clip of me?
No. The whole thing. I watched the video, and I'm like, I agree with Destin's point. He's right. Their messaging was garbage, and their marketing was probably misleading.
Yeah.
But the argument that was going on was about the existence of early access and that Game Pass technically isn't day one. And I'm like, well, it is. Game Pass is day one. Take the Forza poor example out of it. It is day one. Everyone gets a game day one. Like, I don't know. It's just
like if you go in, I'm curious if I were to go into a store, of course, wearing my mask, would I be able to get Forza Horizon 5 right now? Or is it not hit stores until the 9th? No.
It doesn't
so
hit
the
stores.
general public, and I realize digital sales it's like 60-40 right now, but the general public who go to that storefront or actual store,
November 9th.
Yeah, November 9th.
Yep. And that's the point I was trying to get across. November 9 is still the release date. That is the day that, because we're still in that world where people have that attachment to physical. I think if the day ever comes that we're like 80, 90% digital or full digital, things could change again. But while we still have that attachment to physical, the release day is November 9.
Yeah.
Anything else is whatever. I don't know. It just...
In the interest of time, because I'm conscious of Destin's time, we've got one more super chat.
I don't hear the baby, so we're doing okay.
Okay, well, you just give us a heads up. We've got Gecko Gamer again, just going back to his point about game preservation.
This I've never heard of.
Even digital can degrade due to things like bit rot, which can happen every time you open something. Also, patches.
Is that serious? Is that for real?
Yeah, you can get discs.
Is that a real thing?
On the disc? Yeah, it's a real
no. I know that a disc can rot, but he's saying digital can degrade due to bit rot.
Anything that you store information on can eventually degrade because everything information-wise is stored on physical items. Like,
everything in the cloud is still on server blades.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So it can all fail. But yes, you're right, Gecko. And maybe we'll have a look internally and see if we can have a deeper conversation and maybe speak to someone from the game preservation and do something interesting with it from an XboxEra point of view, because it's a great topic.
Is the one that comes up all the time talking about the C-bomb issue. So
maybe we'll get him on and have a chat. Now, Destin, if you've never watched a full episode, and I grant it, some of our episodes are a bit long in the tooth. We have a wonderful community that support XboxEra with our Patreon. And it's at this point in the show that we like to sort of give some love to all of our wonderful patrons that look after us. Now, I used to have to read out all these names one by one and say thank you.
Not anymore.
But thanks to the miracle of technology and the fact that
you want to read them?
Oh, blast of the face. Nadorius, Not Jack, Going Shade, The Scarecrow, Torn Raptor, VK Andrew, Britt, Cerys.
Cerys.
How long is this list? Krizips.
That's why we don't read it anymore.
Knottian, Wildstar, Morventhus,
good name.
Gabe Quest, Hexer, SG Spray, J Repa, Cartoon Soldier. I'm doing it. I'm
loving it.
Proof JJJ, Red Sun, Shadowgasm, the best shadows, Somnia, Syndex, Top, Running Riot.
That's why we stopped reading it, because the list was too long.
Now I'm of the mindset that every time we have a guest, we make them do it. Destin's just invented a whole new bit of famous international superstars in the industry reading out their names. I love it.
You know that we're going to get all our guests to read out the list from now on, yeah?
Yeah, that's happening.
Like, we have to do that now. Next time we get Jeff Grubb on, I'm going to make Jeff read all of it.
Yeah,
I'm going to make him read the lot.
Well done, Destin.
He'll do it too.
Every guest will now curse you for doing this to them, but I love it. So big thank you to all our patrons for all of the support. You make all of this possible, because XboxEra is a community-driven effort, and we owe you for enabling us to be able to do all this wonderful stuff. Now, as part of the perks of being a patron, they get to ask community questions on every podcast. And when we have a guest, they often direct them at you. So I think we've got a fairly lengthy list, but as we usually do, I think Nick will try and focus on the ones that specifically are asking you a question.
Yes,
Destin.
In case Destin needs to dip, I'll try and grab the questions that are more specifically for Destin, just in case. So that way those people get their question.
No one knows who I am, so
don't be like that, mate. Mate.
I can answer all three questions. Don't worry,
mate. Don't be humble, please. Okay, don't be humble.
That's a lot.
Yeah, you're a big deal, mate. Don't be humble. Come on, don't be like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I really don't think about myself that way, but okay.
I think that the best way of putting it is you're very respected in the industry. And I think particularly, a lot of our community, when they said, "Hey, yeah, we're having Destin on," they were like, "Oh, he's great. I love watching him. He's one of the best IGN guys."
I got a lot of messages about it when they found out that you were on.
Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you.
Enjoy it. Bask in the adulation that is coming your way.
Well,
anyway,
very kind words. I appreciate that.
Destin, you sound like me, mate. You sound like you can't help but focus on the crap that you cop online, and it's hard to sort of take in the positive stuff sometimes. But you gotta take in the positive stuff, mate. Trust me, a lot more people like you than like you. It's just the people that don't like you are the people that don't like you are louder. They're just really, really loud. That's all it is. Don't worry about it, mate. Don't stress. Okay. We'll go for the Destin questions. Where are we? Now, Beast Mode 10.
All three.
Hi, Nick. Hi, Nick John Destin. Question for Destin. I think the Halo campaign coverage is part of the IGN's first exclusive series, very similar to the Steam Deck reveal. How much footage do you usually plan to shoot on such exclusive outings? And is there a certain formula to space out the release of IGN First segments that reveal a certain piece of information? Cheers.
Ooh. I don't know how much of this I can answer, but I can answer the footage one. I record every single second I possibly can, and then I like to go back and I will work on those edits later. And I think I can answer. That's it. I record everything. When we did the Destiny one, I recorded as much as I possibly could. Like every hard drive I brought was basically full when I came back. And then sometimes it's about like what you're able to craft from the experiences that you had with the developer, right? Like what stories you want to tell, and then you come up with a content plan and you run it throughout the month. Sometimes those are discussed ahead of time.
Yeah. That's a fair way of putting it.
They're editorial led though, so like it's not my thing to really talk about. So I don't know. It's a little uncomfortable for me to talk about because Ryan runs the IGN First stuff, and I don't want to speak on his behalf about how he
that's fine.
How he runs the show.
Yeah, I think that's a fair question though. So everything in the very, very
I can tell you about the production stuff. Yeah, I record everything.
Yeah. Okay, Doncabesa, our producer. Nick Destin, Master Chief Jr. What?
I'll take that compliment. Maybe.
Destin, you're great. I loved your personal channel alongside your work with IGN. Did you know that XboxEra is in the process of an Extra Life charity live stream right now over on our Twitch channel, the XboxEra? Just thought you'd like to know. My question is this. Yes.
No. Wait. How can people donate to the thing?
That's true. This is Jesse's giving.
Yeah,
us
Jesse, you're running it, dude. Where's the banner?
There it is.
Extralife.org, extra-life.org/participant/Xbox-ERA. In case there's capitalization things. I did a big fundraiser. Like when my channel was the most popular, I'm like, I have to do it this month. And we raised like $5,000 for one of the charities.
Great.
And I'm a big supporter of anybody who's able to do a charity thing. It's more work than you think to even just do the call out on every episode for a month. But the community helped hit $5,000, and it's awesome that you guys are doing this.
It's just incredible. And I have to give props to Jesse because he's sitting here behind the scenes of this podcast while we're filming, controlling, and all the
say hi to the people, Jesse.
But he's been streaming for
hello to the people.
Hours. There he is. And he's gone again. I love StreamYard.
I know, it's so good.
Jesse. And definitely go check out the Twitch channel. It's got a link to the Extra Life there. I think, the original target, Jesse was quite humble. I think the original target was like $200, and he blew past that. He blew past 500. I'm not sure how far he's got, but if you're feeling generous, save the super chats, go throw them at the Extra Life thing instead, because it's a better cause than us.
Anyway. Speaking of super chats, there's one from Cerys. Destin is Fabby, even if he says Cerys the wrong way, but that's okay. It is Welsh.
Well, now I know it's Cerys. So
yeah, that's right. He knows now.
Now we've learned.
Okay. Somnia. Hey fellas, hope you're having a great show and congrats on 10K. Thanks, Somnia. This question is for Destin. I'm curious what got you into games journalism and where did your career start before IGN, or was IGN where you started? Have a great weekend all. We kind of covered that, didn't we?
Well, I can go all the
cool.
way back to where it started.
Go back.
Yeah,
to
go.
We were talking off the air. I used to write for mygamer.com. I just wanted to, I've always, my whole life, wanted to talk about video games, probably since high school, right? You used to have like Game Pro back then, and IGN 64, of course, and all the magazines that would just cover gaming. I still have tips and tricks issues where I would bring to the arcade and put on the arcade thing so I could do the infinite gem combos and stuff with Wolverine, I was a huge comic book fan back then. So I started writing for My Gamer. I did that for a while, and then, college happened or whatever. And then Game Trailers had something called user movies. And if you want to go back to the very beginning, I started uploading user movies to Game Trailers. And I started doing, one of the things I started doing was the Daily DL. I did like 7 episodes of the Daily DL that was meant to be a humorous news show where I would talk about a news story and then usually have a punchline with every story that I would do. The jokes were very bad, and it definitely showed its date. Like I had like a bed sheet hung up, and it was like, it's terrible. But people really, really liked it. It would get featured regularly on Game Trailers, and I even got noticed by Craig Skistimus, who used to run Screw Attack, and he flew me out to Texas, and he had me try out for the show Hard News, which was Screw Attack's news show and the first video game news show that I think ever existed. IGN hadn't started the Daily Fix yet. None of that had happened. So for a year or two, I did Hard News. I did it for a total of about 3 years before somebody else took over. Jared took over. And in that time, nobody else was really doing it. And then IGN started doing the Daily Fix, and everybody does daily news now, right? So it's sort of a thing. But that was like another lifetime. Even before that, though, while I was doing the Daily DL, I was borrowing my roommate's camera to do that at the time in college. Wow. I was learning how to edit and everything. I was going for game design. So like I was doing 3D models in 3ds Max and all that, and learning just I didn't do much coding. Mostly it was 3D modeling, rigging. I didn't get so good with the texturing, but I knew how to unwrap. I don't know if any of this is making any sense.
I'm with you.
Keep going.
And so I started doing the videos, and I was offered a job in Wisconsin doing like web page design or something. And I was doing that and doing this in my spare time, where I would just do this silly news show talking about video games. But before that, they had a user movie contest called We Love Halo 3, and you had to submit a created video about Halo 3 and why you loved it. So I did this goofy thing where I was dressed all nerdy and pretended to be nerdy, and talked about why I love Halo 3. And I won. And I won like like $1,000 gift card at Best Buy or something. And I bought the camera that I used to start shooting the Daily DLs, and the tripod, and just the gear that I needed to start making videos. And then, that's it. Winning that contest on Game Trailers is why I was able to do the Daily DL, which is why I was able to get the job at Screw Attack. Screw Attack would lead to getting a job at Frogster America as a community manager, which was
Frogster.
FROG, like hop hop.
Yeah.
and then I applied at IGN to be their first person that would capture video games, and that was my main responsibility: to capture entirety of video games and make wiki type content. That was a decade ago. I was the first one to do it full time. I was hired full time, which is not a normal thing. Normally, you are hired as a contractor and then brought on.
Yeah.
And that's the whole story.
Blimey. That's quite inspiring, because especially as someone very similar, really wanted to do something in games. And I thought about pursuing development, but then I realized the magic of games for me is in the discovery and the playing. And I've got a cousin that's a developer. He works at a very big AAA studio, and the magic of creating is a different kind of mindset, and it's not my mindset. I like playing the end product. I don't necessarily like building the product. So it's really cool to hear that that there's a lot of similar journeys, probably to a lot of people that love covering games on this team, because I think there's a lot of love out there for the medium, but not everyone has the opportunity to go and pursue that, right? That's really cool. That's really cool to hear that story.
A lot of people, yeah, they're just like, oh, you're just another game journalist. And I'm like, I never thought of myself. I never sought out to be a games journalist. I just talked about video games, and that's all I've ever done. You know, I talked about the news that is happening and made jokes about the news. And then, people just started taking me maybe a little too seriously.
Well, I saw a couple of things in the chat. One, I'm going to read out because it was just really kind. Where is it? Roberto Vega Flick. It's not a super chat. I get to make the call. Destin, just want to say hello. Big fan of your work. Keep up the humor on Twitter. Love to see people freak out with your sarcasm. I just liked reading that because it was just a nice comment that I saw flag up.
There is a super chat
photo on my shelf.
Yeah, we got a
that
super
one.
chat
Jeez,
here.
people got so mad about that.
Yeah, people
they
get
did.
I'm like, you know, this isn't real, right?
This is serious business. But Gamers Play HUD Zero says, I actually remember you on Screw Attack and your famous slide. This is Destin Legarie and this is the hard news.
I'm Destin and this is hard news. That was the catchphrase. And this jacket I wear now is actually an homage to hard news. That's why I was like, oh, I'll do a little throwback on the show.
It works. Yeah. It works. Very, very well-dressed YouTuber. Good question. What have we got next?
Okay. Knottian. Howdy to my lovely colleagues, John and Nick, and welcome, Destin. Bam! I've appreciated your insights on Podcast Unlocked, as well as IGN overall, and love your channel. Less gaming and more personal question this time. Since working from home for over a year and a half, I've noticed that hobbies, projects that I used to love engaging in after coming home from work have largely fallen by the wayside. I'm not sure if it's burnout from working at odd hours and too many, odd sleeping patterns, or the ease and safety that comes with some of my hobbies like gaming or catching up on TV. Specifically, I can't remember the last time I picked up my guitars and recorded new music. Have any of you felt similar? And if so, which hobbies have fallen to the side? Destin has a bit of extra lenience for recently becoming a father. Thanks for everything you do, Destin. And as always, to the gentlemen, you're the tops.
Go. Yeah, go for it.
So what's fallen by the wayside?
Too many hobbies. Like I went the opposite direction. I don't want to say thrive, but I like working at home a lot. I get to watch my son grow up and see milestones, like see him babble and stuff like that. So for me, I'm doing probably better in that respect. I get to work on a lot of different types of things. I get to do the IGN work, which I am strict with keeping 9 to 5, right? Keeping that separate from my personal stuff. So personal stuff in the evening, IGN stuff during the day. And then I also I did some cooking videos where I tried an In-N-Out recipe that this one YouTuber did. And I actually really enjoy cooking for my wife. I make homemade bread a lot. Nice. I am a big fan of photography. I photograph birds for fun. And I really honed that skill during the time with COVID. My friend CJ Gibson, some people might know him from IGN, taught me the basics of photography, and I really took it to heart. And that's how I improved a lot of my videography skills, which came in very handy when COVID hit, because I was able to take the gear that I need, and like the PlayStation unboxing we did this year on IGN, that was shot by me, lit by, everything was me, right? Wow. Same with the Xbox and the Series S. They were all shipped to me and shot in my living room. And so I'm strange, I guess. For me, I have taken on extra hobbies. Like, here's a weird one. A few weeks ago, I was going to sell pies to people in my neighborhood because I really enjoyed making pies, but it turned out to be just like one too many. I made a mistake making 2 pies. So my wife and I had to eat these 2 amazing apple pies that I forgot to put certain ingredients.
Apple pie is so nice.
So yeah, if you don't put in a thickener, then your pie is just ruined. But you put in the thickener is like the second to last thing you do. You do your crust, then you put your apples have been sitting for an hour, and you add cornstarch. And I forgot to add the cornstarch, so the 2 pies I was going to sell were ruined. So we ate them, and they were delicious.
There you go.
Anyway, sorry, talking a lot, but I have a lot of little hobbies, plus playtime with my son, time with my wife.
That's good. It's all good. I think very similar for me. Like my hobbies are pretty much XboxEra. That is similar to you. I have a 9 to 5 that eats up a lot of my time. It often turns into like an 8 till 8 job. So there's a bit of burning candle at both ends, and I do love doing it though, and so that's fine. I did note that I got up this morning. I went to bed at midnight last night. I woke up at around 8:30. My son is old enough. He gets breakfast for him and his younger sister, and they came and woke me up because my wife had left for work at like 7 a.m. or something. They came and woke me up at about 8. And Daddy, can we do this? And I went downstairs all bleary-eyed. I had a coffee, and I sat next to my daughter, and she was just watching Bluey, I think, and I fell asleep, and she was just cuddling me, and I woke up again at 11. I was like, wow, okay, my body really was just like completely burned out. So I was terrible Father of the Year award. I was just completely exhausted. Son just sat on his Switch for 3 hours, and my daughter just sat there cuddling me. But it was good because it was like I haven't napped in about a decade, so I felt great afterwards. Maybe that's my new hobby, napping. I should revitalize it. It felt great.
This is a little personal, but do you mind me if I ask how old you are?
Me, I'm 37.
Okay, I'm 39. And I am so exhausted around 6 o'clock. Yeah.
I have a thing.
I fall asleep on the couch very early.
Yeah. I come out of my office, when I finish working, and my wife and my kids, and they're having dinner like 5:30, 6 o'clock. If I sit down, I will fall asleep. It doesn't matter if the TV's on. I will fall. So I now find myself, I will stand and talk, because if I sit, it's game over for Dad.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're not
as soon
alone,
as I hit that couch.
It's bad.
As soon as I hit that couch.
Don't feel guilty. It's hereditary across all men.
Yeah. I'm an old man, and you just fall asleep wherever.
Everyone else is like, oh, he sleeps great through the night. My son does not sleep great through the night. He wakes up 3-4 times minimum.
That sounds full
he's
on.
Like teething right now, so he's doing sleep regression. It's rough, but I love it.
Yeah. No,
just
I have to admit.
Yeah. Go on, Nick.
I was going to say my two were pretty good sleepers on the whole, but then I could also sleep.
Well, I was about to say the opposite. Any parent that says my 2 kids were asleep from 3 months in, they're lying to you, right? They just want to be the Instagram family. Everything's great at our end. It's all lies. But maybe that was mean of me to say.
I'm just saying mine weren't too bad, but it also helps that I could probably sleep through an earthquake. So it's less of an issue for me.
We didn't hear from Nick though about how's COVID affecting you.
Weirdly, as someone who was a homebody before COVID was a thing, like a lot of my family joked that not much is changing in lockdown because I'm home a lot playing games or whatever anyway. The thing that changed a lot for me was listening to podcasts, because listening to podcasts was something that I always did on the drive into work and the drive home and often at the gym. But then Melbourne's the most locked down city in the world. So for the last 4 months, I haven't been able to go to the gym. And then I'm not driving in and back from work anymore. So being able to listen to all the podcasts I used to listen to is what's kind of fallen by the wayside, because I don't have the same opportunities to listen to them anymore. Hopefully now that we're opening up again and I can start going to the gym again, I'll start listening to all the podcasts again. But I got a lot to catch up on. Yeah. Sure. Now it's more, I listen to them when I have something that I need to hear about. So someone will say to me, hey, Nick, did you hear about this thing? So I need to go and listen to that podcast to see what it was they were talking about, as opposed to taking the out of context clip and using that to judge something on.
Well, people like bite-sized stuff, so it's easy. And on psychologically, one of the easiest things to manipulate people with is anger. That there's a great YouTube video out there about the anger germ that I really encourage everybody to watch, because anger spreads like wildfire. Especially online. And there's a lot going on in these in online communities just generally. That is, if you've ever studied any modicum of psychology or sociology, it's very interesting stuff. And I don't know that all of it's good, but yeah.
It's just true. Like we talk about it on XboxEra. We talk about the YouTube algorithm, right? And the majority of YouTube videos, and it's nice to come across. I don't think your channel does it, but you pick the topic and you'll go the negative slant with the angry rhetoric, because that's what gets you clicks. Because anger is the easiest emotion to spread across, right? And we deliberately try not to do it. Is this the call for help?
My son might be coming in to say hi.
Oh, that's
hi, buddy. Can we say hi on the show? We're live. Actually, no. Maybe let's not put him on the show.
It's okay. We can.
No, it's all right. He can make that decision when he's old enough. That's my wife.
I know Adam Icegreen, when we had Adam Icegreen from World's Edge on, I know his daughter came in and just started asking him all these questions, and he's like, "I'm doing a show. I'm here. Can't you see? I'm doing a show."
We'll be right back. 2 seconds.
No worries. Oh dear. So yeah, Destin is he's living the dream of this is parent life. It is very real. Anyone watching that's got kids, this is how it is. you can't stop it. I put a lock on the door, but it's not always going to work.
Well, he loves coming in here, and I let him play with the Xbox controller, and it lights up. The button will light up.
Yeah.
He just loves it so much.
And see, that's been the great thing about COVID, though, because I'm always home. My kids are more into gaming now because I'm here to play with them more. My son and I, we play Rocket League together heaps, and then my daughter gets involved and we all play Fortnite, and that stuff's been good. That stuff has been really, really good. There was less of a chance to do that before.
For sure.
Which is good. But mine are older. You've still got a way to go, Destin. Mine are 10 and 6.
Oh, yeah.
So
when does it start? When does he start sleeping on his own and stuff like that? 1, 2?
2.
2?
Yeah, 1.5 to 2.
They have to be in the same room till they're 1.
Yeah, 1.5 to 2 is fine. I mean, we cheated with our son. We had him in his own room by 6 months.
Oh, really? Yeah, you can do that. That's fine.
Yeah, and he did okay. It was literally the room next to us because we were about
same here. From day one, his own room.
Yeah, but my daughter, she was the trouble child. She still is. She's a nightmare. I love her. We went to this birthday party today with her, and she was. That they're doing the pass the parcel, and she didn't win, and she immediately went and tantrumed over to me. I didn't win a prize. I'm like, that's life, kid. And she doesn't get that lesson yet, but she was a little bit more difficult. I think we had a lot of up and down, so about 1.5 for her. So every kid's different. I was about to say
every kid is completely different. Like my 2 were both in their own rooms from day one, but all our bedrooms are very close together. So if we need to jump up and go check, we can. But for example, with the older one, unfortunately, she's an early riser regardless of what time she goes to bed. She could go to bed at 1 a.m., she'll be up at 7. She could go to bed at 7, she'll be up at 7.
My voice is
she could go to bed at 4, she'll be up at 7. It's like her body clock is just, nope, I'm up at 7 regardless. Yeah. So
my son,
I feel bad.
He's punching us in the face. So I hear
and that's the problem. It's hard. Parenting advice, everyone wants to give it to you, but the problem is it doesn't always apply because your kid's different to every other kid. So when I heard that yours is up at 1:30 regardless all the time, I'm like, wow, that must be full on because mine wasn't like that. So it's
11:30, 1:30, 3. Wow. And then maybe he goes back to bed at 3 easy. Maybe not, but usually 3 is the last one. And then he's up at 6:30.
We're getting it. This isn't about gaming anymore, audience. This is about child rearing.
But this is what happens. This is why the show goes as long as it does sometimes. We go off on a tangent and then away we go.
It works. My only question was, how old is he at the moment?
He's 9 months. He just turned
9 months. No, wow. For it then. When we had trouble with our daughter when she was really young and she used to really scream, we did the classic, I can't remember if it's called swaddling, where you almost wrap them up. So
just straight jacket.
Straight jacket.
Yeah,
that used to work, but he's a little old for that.
Well, our pediatric doctor, whatever it's called, they said that he's probably going to start having separation anxiety now. So if he wakes up and he doesn't know where we are, then he's like, weird. Yeah. Anyway, baby stuff.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
We'll
you guys are home all the time, which is unprecedented. That wasn't like that before all of this.
I could not do this without my wife.
Yeah.
I could not do any of the things that I'm doing. I couldn't do the YouTube thing. I couldn't do this podcast. My wife is the most amazing woman in the world, and I love her so much. And I couldn't do any of this without her.
Yeah.
I just couldn't.
Yeah.
Same.
Who do you think is keeping my 2 out of here?
Yeah.
My wife is she hates all the gaming stuff, but if she didn't help out, then I wouldn't be able to do any of it either. So mad props to all the wives out there that are helping us do what we want to do. Go on, Nick. What else have we got? Have we got any others for Destin?
I've got a couple of super chats. Faisal, 27 minutes behind. Xbox Chipmunk voice era still solid.
Watching it on fast forward. That's
dedication. Yeah, he's watching it on fast forward. Jake, game is expensive, especially because I have 3 kids. Game Pass is the reason I can afford to game. Also, Microsoft doesn't get enough praise for accessibility with its adaptive controller.
They're getting a lot of praise for Forza right now.
Yeah, they are, aren't they?
Did you see that they have sign language?
I think that's coming after launch. I don't think it comes at launch. I think it's coming shortly after. But yeah, they're integrating full-on people doing sign language.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's unbelievable.
And it's both versions. I didn't even know there were 2 versions of sign language. I just know like water and more.
Yeah. That's incredible.
Oh, I didn't know that either. I'm just finding that out now that you're saying it.
Sign language. So.
Oh wow, that's cool.
He can actually so check this out. Babies can actually learn sign language really fast, and they can communicate their needs if you work and teach them. So like if he wants water, right, or he wants more, he can at least communicate that. He already does more all the time.
Wow,
so it's really fast.
That's unreal.
It's really amazing stuff.
That's incredible. Yeah. It's something I wish I'd learned when I was a kid, sign language, because I watched Dune and I watched the mother. Have you seen Dune?
I saw the new one. Yeah,
where they were sign languaging. I absolutely loved that as like a very
the little hidden
so cool. Yeah. Anyway, I digress.
That was cool.
And the new Halo thing where they used all sign language with the audio reconstruction, that was phenomenal. Today's with the grapple shot.
Oh, incredible.
Incredible.
There is no marketing like Halo marketing. I still think to this day.
I hope there's even like a small part of something like that in the game when it comes out. Because we got that audio log, right? And that was really good.
Yeah.
But I'm like, now we're getting these full-on live action things. I'm like,
they're
powerful. They're good.
They're very well made. And I have to wonder, this is an open world-esque Halo. Mm-hmm. What kind of little things, because audio diaries, we've been there, we've done that data pad collection, but if they're really well produced bits like this, great.
But that last campaign trailer, it looks like the Infinity detonates to take out the ring so that they don't, kill everybody in the world and in the galaxy. That's what it looks like to me.
Yeah.
I was talking with Ian. Halo Cannon's a big a YouTuber, and we were talking a few weeks back about that last campaign trailer. And you see the ring, and then you see deceased, right? And we know that, Chief's mental state, which was covered a lot in Shadows of Reach, was discussed. He hopes it's not true, but we were talking about it, and we think that I think that the Infinity was detonated, and I think Chief is realizing the toll of the decisions that he's had to make to stop Cortana, to stop all these bad things from happening. And I think I hope we learn more about that. It could be anything, but imagine if that's what happened in that campaign trailer that we saw.
Destin, you just hyped me up.
Right?
Like I'm already pretty hyped, but I think if they were to do that, that would be an incredibly gutsy decision because
Halsey's on that ship, Dr. Halsey.
Everyone.
Or clone brains are on that ship. One of the clone brains. Well, they think it was clone brains that they got in Shadows of Reach when they went back to Reach and went underground and got the brains, right?
To make the weapon or
and one of them were used to create the weapon. So I'm very excited for Infinite because of that conversation I had with Halo Cannon. And talking about Shadows of Reach, talking about Halo Infinite and that trailer. And I never made the connection between that moment when they're looking at the ring and then everybody says deceased. I'm like, I think they blew up the Infinity.
That would be the ballsiest move. I'd actually applaud 343 for that because it's almost like subconsciously, that's a little bit like, we understand Halo now. It took us a couple of games to get it, but we understand that Halo's best when humanity's on the back foot. When it's just you versus the world, not when the Infinity's plowing through Covenant cruisers in cutscenes and stuff like that. Isn't the humanity that
well, they've been slip space jumping for like 5 years at this point. It's a very long time. No, I think it's only 2. It's years though. It's like 2-3 years by the time we get to Infinite. Something happens because Infinite we already know is going to be the spiritual reset point for the Halo franchise.
Absolutely.
Right? So what if they kill everybody? They kill Halsey.
Do it.
They kill
Do it,
Lasky.
343.
And like we're left with this new Cortana's probably still going to be there, but she's lost her weapon. Now we have the weapon, which can take out Cortana. Maybe that's our mission. I don't know. I have all the. I'm really, really excited. I've only read like 5 of the Halo books. I'm reading through Shadows of Reach right now, but I watched Halo Cannon's video that does a great synopsis. I'm a big fan of his YouTube work.
Yeah, he's excellent.
Yeah.
And do you know?
Sorry to nerd out for a second.
No,
that's
to be honest. I should probably say at this point we do have a dedicated podcast called "You Had Me at Halo."
You had me at Halo.
We should probably try and get you on, even though this might be the last public show. I'll send you the deets. You can make a decision. But if you want to nerd out about Halo lore, those are the guys to go and do it with. They are way more obsessed than perhaps Nick and I. But yeah,
my last show for a while. Maybe in December things will stop. all happening on the same week. But yeah.
I got told an amazing theory about Infinite just yesterday. Someone told me their theory about what they think is going on, and I thought it was cool as when they told me. You know how Atriox is always in a hologram?
Yeah, he's not dead, by the way, or at least we don't think he is.
No.
Apparently, he's in a hologram in the trailer, right?
That's Escharum,
that's right.
Not Atriox, right? That's Escharum.
Escharim's the main person, but in the background,
that hologram is Atriox
in the background somewhere.
Oh,
and someone told me that what if that hologram is actually Cortana hiding?
Well, that's my theory, which Halo Cannon kind of blew up, was that that's just Cortana pretending.
Yeah.
Right. But
I thought that was cool. I thought that was a pretty cool theory. I don't know if it's true or not, but I thought that was a pretty cool theory.
I think the weapon, I don't think it's Cortana. I think she is being forced to. I don't think this anymore, actually. I thought she was being forced to be dumb, like she's shackled or the UNSC like restrained her in some way. But once I had the context of what happened in Shadow of Reach, I think she's an all new AI and she's just naive. And I actually, once I had that context, I liked it more because I did my reaction video. People were like, she's like a baby. She's like brand new, basically.
Yeah.
So she was made. She's either like 1 year old or like 6 months old based on the timelines of what we've seen in like the text on the screen. Because the events from Shadows of Reach takes place from 59 to like I want to say the beginning of 2559 to 2560, and then 3 months later something happens in Infinite. So yeah, I had it all written down. The exact dates.
I had a theory. There's a
very tight window. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, there's a line in the latest campaign trailer that she says, she's like, "What did Cortana do wrong? Like, how is she wrong?" And I was like, okay, this was my theory. It is a reclone of Halsey's clone brain, because that's how Cortana was made. But this Cortana, this Nutana, let's just go with that.
Weapon.
She's had certain subroutines or whatever manipulated to not allow her to think like Cortana, not be exactly the same. Hence why she seems a little bit dumbed down.
Well, in Shadows of Reach, they won't even give them AIs anymore. They give them like stupid computers that are slightly better than the ones they had in the original Mjolnir armor.
Interesting. Yeah. See, and that's where I wonder whether the in-game personal AIs are an evolution of, right? But I reckon that the end plot, this is just a guesswork from me, I don't know, but they'll end up, the weapon merges with Cortana, restores her original or makes her realize
like they balance each other out. You got like Cortana that's manipulating all the AIs to be enemies and sending guardians around the galaxy chasing everybody, and you got this new naive one that's like, hey, let's be nice. And
please change that heading.
I kind of don't hope that happens.
I hope it doesn't. I think that's a cop-out, in my opinion. I think that's the weakest storyline. But killing everyone on the Infinity...
Like, I can see that happening, so I don't like it. I want to be surprised, right?
Exactly.
I think we're getting out of control. We have to go back to community questions. We're getting out of control.
Your
dream of an hour and a half, Destin, died a good 25 minutes ago. I'm sorry.
You brought up Halo. I can't help it.
Well, we went through the questions that were directed directly at Destin. So if he does need to dip, he can.
I'll do one more. If he's happy
to stay on,
probably go. Yeah,
one more.
If he's happy to stay on,
I can hear my wife with the baby, and I always feel guilty, like I should be out there helping. So
yeah, one more, Nick. Pick a good one.
Yeah, I want to pick one. Yeah, that's okay. Where are we? There's so many here. My God. Where is it? Where is it? Okay. I'm trying to find a good one. There is a lot here.
Let's go back to Abandoned. No.
Here's a pretty straightforward one. From Notjack. How much do you think Xbox's great Q4 lineup will affect console sales?
Not at all.
They'll sell out everything they're going to make.
They already can't make enough to sell, so I think it will have no effect.
Yeah. Because
and the reasoning being because they already are selling out the second they hit the shelf. So like there's no it's sort of an interesting problem, right? Like Nintendo, Sony, Microsoft, they're all in the same boat. Everybody has a chip shortage issue to deal with.
Yeah.
And a lot of the manufacturers in I think it's China or where the chips are made, or is it Japan?
Yeah.
It's China, right?
China.
Yeah, because they were doing Bloomberg just did this big expose on how that shortage is going to last much further into the future than people think.
Yeah.
So
this is the new reality.
I do not think the success will have an effect on console sales. I think they're going to sell every single one they ship.
Well, the question then moves to how do they get people buying S's, which are the ones that are sitting on shelves, figuratively speaking. Like they'll
sit on shelves for how long, Nick, though? Like what, a week? Because I go to Costco, right? And I see them there once in a while. They're not there anymore, and they haven't been there for a month. So how long are they sitting? How long are even in like Japan right now is seeing this big surge for Xbox. And granted, like PlayStation's still selling better there, but it's really surprising to see Xbox actually even be on the map in Japan.
Yeah. They're just about next week. They'll top their entire lifetime sales of Xbox One next week.
Xbox One.
Yeah.
That's mental.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I'd be interested. It's going to be an interesting thing to see in terms of their marketing. Like they've got the S there, the $2.99 box. Free to play games are now actually free to play, which they haven't been for a long, long time.
They fixed that at the beginning of the year.
Yeah. Do they lean in and say, hey, $2.99 box, Halo, free to play, Fortnite, Warzone, Rocket League, all this stuff with your little $2.99 Series S and get them flying off the shelves as much as the X is?
I mean,
be interesting.
Go on, Destin.
I mean, if you want to inversely ask the question, because there's just a hardware limitation. Like there's no way they could make more, but if they could make more, would it have impacted sales positively? Absolutely. Yeah. Like, of course, anytime you have like buzz, like Forza Horizon 5 has right now, yes, you're going to move the needle on your console sales. So
yeah. I mean, Microsoft's also in the unique position where they're also allocating to the server blades for xCloud as well.
They're done with that. I think that's it. They were allocating.
Well, they were. That's what I mean. Up until this point, part of the reason Series X's have been absolutely impossible to get is because they were also allocating hardware to those Series X blades. Yeah. Now that that's done, hopefully they can pump out a few more Series X's. Hopefully.
Yeah, we'll see.
I think everybody's holding for Black Friday and Christmas.
Yeah, that's possible. Microsoft will try and flood the market.
There's that story about how Sony's flying around jumbo jets to make sure everybody has their PS5 for Christmas, and they really want to hit that 20 million number.
Yeah.
Right? So
I reckon that's when Microsoft will flood the market. They'll get as much out as they can for those 2 dates, that Thanksgiving period, and
Oh, and there's also restock rumors right now for Walmart, for Target, for Amazon. So stuff that I went to a Target actually not that long ago, and they are sitting on stock. The person at the store told me, we have a bunch in the back. I can't sell you anything though. And I'm like, why? And he's like, well, just between us, I'm holding it until end of November.
Wow.
And the people online, they see the stock numbers for Target. They know they have stock. And that's why all those relisting places are like, hey, it's coming soon. To be ready. Yeah.
So I'm guessing they want the stock for Black Friday then. I would
guess it's Black Friday.
Interesting.
Which kind of makes sense, but it's an awkward situation just because I mean, it's unprecedented, isn't it? That we've gone a full year and you still can't buy these consoles. Just walk into a store and just buy one.
My theory is that Walmart right now, with all these sales they're doing, I think they're experimenting to get rid of the scalpers from their sales. And I almost don't even think they're selling stock because it's been such a disaster for Walmart. I'm like, this has to be like a purposeful mistake or something because it's been so bad. But I think that's a little bit too tinfoil hat even for Destin.
The funny part is, though, we talk about chip shortages and how they're not able to keep up. But to me, the thing that's quite surprising is that they're still selling the same or more than they did the previous generation, despite the chip shortage.
Yeah.
So they've
think
still
that's how Sony was able to outsell the Wii. I think because everybody's throttled, it's actually allowing Sony to sell better in a weird way. Because there's I can't remember the specific term, but there's implied demand or something like that. I don't know. It's a psychological term for
it is.
The perception of a scarcity item.
Yes,
and all the consoles are that right now. Not so much Nintendo, maybe the OLED, but I think even OLED you can sort of get right now. If you
can get the OLED down here anyway.
Yeah,
the OLED's not a problem here.
Definitely with the PlayStation and Xbox, so there's that scarcity play. So you see when you buy it.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep. That's exactly what's happening at the moment. Yeah, for sure.
All right. So in the interest of time, because Destin,
he can go anytime he likes.
Last
That's the
three
beauty
things.
of StreamYard.
Last three things for Destin, because then he can go very, very quickly. Gecko Gamer, a super chat. Favorite 3D platformer you've played in the last 2 generations? Just
3. Can I have some examples? Returnal?
Does that count as a platformer?
Yeah.
You can say
Ratchet, kind of. Ratchet, sort of a 3D platformer in a way.
I like Ratchet from a technical perspective, but like I don't know. I didn't like
Psychonauts 2 would probably be mine.
What would it be?
Psychonauts 2. I'm not a big platformer guy anyway, so
from the last 2 generations, it said.
I've been playing Destiny, New World, Metroid, like Forza a lot. I'll be playing a lot of Halo, and I'm gonna like no life Halo.
Yeah, I've got a week
God,
off.
there hasn't been a lot of 3D platformers the last 2 generations, has there? What's
Super
mine?
Lucky's Tale.
Yeah, Super Lucky's Tale was great. I like Super Lucky's Tale.
I've answered Nick.
Also, since a lot of people consider it a platformer, and I'm going to say it because I love it anyway, Crackdown.
Yeah.
Crackdown's my favorite 3D platformer.
If you're talking about Crackdown 3, I got to go. No, I played. It was a joke on Unlock, but I actually played the original vision for what Crackdown 3 was going to be when it was at Gamescom. They let me behind closed doors.
Yes, I saw that video
and put it out there, and it was awesome. You could blow up like everything in the city. It's just like that vision. It didn't get where it needed to be. It's such Crackdown 3 is like a disappointment on so many different levels for me, because not only do I love the original Crackdown, but I talked to the developers and how passionate they were about creating that vision, and like they had to be super disappointed with what actually came out.
I watched that video that you did.
It was so cool.
It was great the way he cut a hole out of the cement with the gun. He just shot a hole and then the piece just fell out. Yeah. And I was like, that is so cool. That is
maybe
cool.
Sometime in the next 5 years now the tech could catch up feasibly.
I don't know. Yeah. I still enjoyed Crackdown 3 for what it was.
I know you did.
I just like, I don't know. I like games that focus on the fun and how it feels to play them. And I mean, I'm the one that's alienated. No one likes Crackdown 3. I'm the only one that does.
Crackdown 3 Stan. The other thing I wanted to mention was thanks to your wonderful reading out of the Extra Life link, I've just been advised we got back-to-back $50 donations. Then another $30 when the original goal was 100. What a crazy, awesome community we've got from Jesse. So thanks for the shout out. And the last thing, Destin, just one last time, and I hope Jesse's on the ball here. Thank you for joining us. It's been a blast. I know you've got to go do dad things, put the dad hat on, but do you want to pimp out the Destin channel and where they can find you and everything else one last time? It's up on the screen.
It's twitch.tv/Destin. It's youtube.com/the Destin channel. They would not give me Destin, even though it's a channel that's been dead for 9 years. So youtube.com/the Destin channel. I try and post a video a day where I just talk about like whatever's going on in the industry, right? So I really appreciate anybody who's subscribed over there or has ever watched over there and actually at least listen to what I had to say. Yes, I'm very excited about Xbox. I'm a human being. I'm allowed to like things.
No,
like I'm allowed to like one thing more than another thing and still be able to objectively cover, like, go watch my Spider-Man performance review and tell me I have an axe to grind in some manner. Like, it's just not true, you know?
Yep.
Right.
Completely
So,
right.
yeah. So youtube.com/Destin channel for my personal stuff. Check me out every week on Unlocked, youtube.com/IGN Games. If you like to watch on YouTube, I'm on Unlocked every Tuesday. And yeah, we're going to be doing that, a live reaction sort of thing. Well, we'll be doing the pre-show and the post-show. That's how we do it over on IGN for the anniversary event next week.
Awesome. Yeah, I think we're probably doing something similar. So I won't be able to tune in, but
that's okay.
You know, fight amongst
yourselves. Bring them both up.
Yeah, both screens. Dual audio. But Destin, seriously, thank you ever so much. I know you're super busy.
Thanks heaps for coming on, mate.
You jumping on with us and hanging out with the community. I hope you had fun.
Oh, it was
it's
fun,
not. Yeah. It's not often like other podcasts. Some of them are very structured, and we're a little bit more freeform. So
no, it was nice.
You had a good time.
It was really
excellent.
Nice. Thank you for having me.
Thanks heaps for joining the Discord too.
Yeah, of course. And thank you everybody in chat for just being so nice and welcoming, and you for being great hosts. I'll see you soon.
No problem. Thanks, Destin.
No worries, mate. Take care.
I love streaming. Wasn't Destin great? I hope everybody that's watching enjoyed hanging out with Destin today. That was really, really cool. And props to him for being able to take the time out to jump on the show. That was great. And lots of good insight and conversation there as well.
Yeah, like I said, I felt bad. I harassed him a lot to get him on, and I felt bad for doing so. But no, he was great. He was really good.
Really, really cool. So yeah, he's gone to be a dad again. We've got a few more community questions which we'll try and hop through.
A lot more community questions.
So if you're still hanging out, chat, stick around. We'll get through these and then we'll let you all go home and do things. But yeah, what do we got next, Nick?
Oh boy. Okay, where are we? Frank Ortiz. Nick, this question is really for you. This is okay. So Frank made a thread on the forum, and this is effectively his thread in community question form.
Interesting. Okay.
Perhaps the new Killer Instinct is being made by a studio in Zenimax or even within Xbox Game Studios. Wait, let me explain. When Max was on last week, he said to go and watch the Hold Back to Block documentary on how Killer Instinct got made. Over the course of the film, you got to see all of the core people responsible for the game. Every person who was involved internally at Xbox that oversaw development of Killer Instinct are still at Xbox via LinkedIn. Ken Lobb, Ernest Jung, Adam Isgreen, James Goddard, all still at Xbox. And every member of the core Double Helix team is still within driving distance of the San Diego area of California. Brandon Misak, lead programmer at Blizzard. Michael Willett, lead producer, still at Amazon. However, John Batista, who was the gameplay director, is at Zenimax Online News Studio in, you guessed it, San Diego. Maybe there is a reunion party happening at Zenimax San Diego, and very early pre-production has started with John Batista. Now, that's just one part. Another thing constantly being mentioned during the documentary are the ideal skills needed to make a fighting game. You need to have a profound understanding of how to animate the player model with smooth transitions and how to develop a unique melee system with a core foundation of countering. That sounds like very much like Ninja Theory. It's not completely insane, is it? The first game they ever made was Kung Fu Chaos, which was a 3D platform fighter type thing. The last game they made was Bleeding Edge, another fighting game, before moving on to Project Mara and Hellblade. Be well, gentlemen. Nick, you are very right that June was just a meh movie. Nowhere near as good as Blade Runner 2049. Sorry, John. P.S. If June gets nominated for Best Picture, whereas Blade Runner did not, all critics from this day onwards deserve gonorrhea.
I mean, I agree with you. Blade Runner 2049 should have been nominated, and it's shocking that it wasn't. I think Dune has a lot of history behind it, and if you're not a fan of the books and grew up with them, yeah, it might hit you as a meh film. Really, it's a prelude to what should be a very incredible sequel. So
it was definitely a 2.5-hour setup.
Yeah, and hey, fair play. I just think from a pure cinematography and what it set out to do, it was an incredible piece of cinema. But Blade Runner 2049 is fantastic, and you're not going to get any arguments from me. What?
Haven't seen it.
Okay.
And I started watching the original Blade Runner and fell asleep.
Yeah, I can understand that.
But I didn't watch Blade Runner back when it came out. I watched it like a couple of years ago.
Yeah, you should watch Blade Runner, the original, and then watch the sequel for sure. The sequel is.
I want to watch 2049.
Yeah,
as to Killer Instinct, Frank, I said in your thread, mate, and I'm going to say it here. I love your theory. I love it. I really, really do. It's a cool theory, but I'm quite confident that Killer Instinct's not being made at Zenimax. Like the information I was given about Killer Instinct, I was given some info around where the game is potentially being made, but there's nothing concrete, which is why I'm not saying anything, and which is why I wish I hadn't said anything about Bully. I need to stop saying stuff when I'm half asleep and not thinking properly, because it comes back and it gets me in trouble.
Do you want to talk about it?
I don't know. I wish I hadn't said anything. I wish I just I've been getting DMs about Bully 2 for 2 years next month. The very first DM I ever got about Bully 2 was December 2019. And I've said nothing about it because none of the information I ever got was concrete. And there's actually a DM sitting in my OneNote from May 2020 where they said, you can say Bully 2's happening. And I said nothing. I forgot about it because at the time I got 3 rumors in one hit, and the one I said was Final Fantasy 16. Do you remember that show with Charisma?
Yep.
Where I talked about Final Fantasy 16 and how it's going to be announced at Sony's show, but it might be exclusive, which it turned out it was. I also got 2 other rumors for that same show, and I was like, you know what? I'll spread them out. And I completely forgot about Bully. Totally forgot about it. And you know what? I let it go after that. And then I got a DM later saying, I think Bully's been cancelled. And that was December last year that I got that DM. And again, I said nothing. And then when I woke up to that Rockstar, the Take-Two financial stuff, and someone pointed out to me that 53 million on a cancelled game, I was like, oh, in my head, in my stupid half-asleep head, I was like, oh, maybe that's Bully. Maybe. Because I had been told that I think Bully's been cancelled. So I was like, oh, maybe that's Bully. And like an idiot, I put it on Twitter, thinking it was going to come out the way it was in my head. All of a sudden, I was confirming that Bully's been cancelled, and this is the game that Take-Two's talking about. And I was like, I just didn't. It was a brain fade that I paid for severely, because then Jason Schreier talked about how this is false. And I was in a DM with Jason about that. Everyone took Jason saying this is false as me being a liar.
Yeah, the word false, like this is incorrect or this is accurate.
Again, fine. I spoke to Jason about this in a DM, and I'm hoping he won't, because I'm not saying anything bad or anything. His intention wasn't to seem like he was calling me a liar. He was just saying that Take-Two cancelled game is not Bully. Yeah. That's the part he was saying is false. And he gave me some advice. He was even nice enough to give me advice and say, dude, you just got to watch what you're saying, because what you're saying isn't being taken the way you mean it. And he linked me to an article. An article was written saying that Bully 2's been cancelled. This guy's saying Bully 2's cancelled. He's like, people aren't taking your words the way you think they're being taken. So my only advice is just be careful with what you're saying. Which was appropriate. He wasn't saying anything bad. The this is false thing, it wasn't him saying, hey, Nick's a liar. It was him saying, hey, no, this cancelled game's not Bully 2. This Take-Two reported cancelled game is not Bully 2. So lesson learned on that one. Yeah. I've just got to be more careful about what I say and how I say it.
That means less rumour mills for everyone.
Yeah, again, 2 years I've said nothing. Why the hell did I open my mouth? 2 years I've said nothing. Yeah, but anyway, what do you do? What do you do? Okay, next, Morventhus. I'll continue giving 2 questions and the choice between either or both. First question. While Microsoft or any streaming service needs IPs that are varied, and it's good to talk about what IPs would be a good fit for Game Pass, it seems a lot of people in the gaming community want Company X to buy Y so that they can resurrect old dormant IP. What makes us think Microsoft could do this? They are currently sitting on loads of great dormant IP. So what's the question? What makes us think Microsoft would do this?
Yeah, I think what he's saying is, there's plenty of IP in Microsoft's coffers. Why would they buy a company just to resurrect someone else's old IP?
Well, because like we found out with Rare don't want to touch their old IP. So sometimes they get others to do it.
Yeah.
And you get nice little poetic justices. I don't know if that's even the right way to say it. Like now they own the studios that own Fallout, but develop New Vegas.
Yeah. So
that provides an opportunity for them to do something with New Vegas because they've got Obsidian and Bethesda. There's nice little, they've got a relationship with Sega and they own Obsidian that did Alpha Protocol. Maybe there's an opportunity there with Alpha Protocol. But I agree with Morventhus that Microsoft aren't utilizing their wealth of IP as much as they could. I mean, Sony are taking advantage of that. Nintendo consistently take advantage of that. Nostalgia is a thing. And it's something, as gross as this sounds, it's something you can monetize. Because people love their nostalgia. I'm an idiot that would buy Punch-Out Wii HD if they made it. If that became a thing, I would give Nintendo my money for it.
Yeah.
And all they'd have to do is make a HD version of a Wii game. It is what it is. Second, what is your favorite little-known dormant IP? One of mine. Sorry, the way this is typed, there's no space, and yeah, one of mine's Relics Impossible Creatures was a fun and zany RTS game.
I think I've already said it on this podcast. It'd be Mech Assault. Chromehounds is a distinct, joint first, I suppose. But something mech-based that isn't a bloody Gundam game, all right? I want big, hunky, chunky mechs, not little anime mechs. I want big, realistic-y mechs.
Yeah. From Microsoft, mine's Jet Force Gemini.
Yeah,
if it's Microsoft and if it's anyone, then it's Punch-Out.
Power Stone.
Oh, yeah. But, if it's anyone, Power Stone, Maximo, Golden Axe, Salted Beast. I used the Sinden Light Gun the other day.
Oh, is it good?
Yeah. And I was playing Virtua Cop 2.
I'm jealous.
It's pretty cool.
I'm jealous.
It's pretty cool. I think I need to get one. And play all those Sega Light Gun games. It's cool.
Yeah, I want one.
Okay. Next. Oh, let me get this out.
I love that it's just always there on standby.
Yeah, I get it ready in the morning. When I get up in the morning, I grab it and bring it down with me.
I might have to edit out that video in the background. That big white flash when the Xbox appears is quite distracting.
Yeah. I was going to do this when Destin was on, but he was time limited and,
Yeah.
Okay.
You need to set a good half hour aside for Cerys' Corner.
Yeah. Okay, yes. Your little podcast. Hello, I guess. I am busy playing Forza. I don't have time to create whimsical content for you. On that topic, everyone give Cerys' non-anime, non-energy drink, non-Halo designs in Forza a like. Yeah, she did a cool rainbow one, I think.
Yeah, it looks really cool.
It's like rainbow thing all over the car. It looks pretty cool. Also, congrats Phantom Fox and DeoGame on winning the birthday giveaway. There was too many great stories to only award one winner, so we had 2 winners and lots of losers.
Nice.
So a question. I am only half listening to the Forza Horizon 5 soundtrack since I usually have something on my Sonos while I play. Get Lucky by Daft Punk was playing as I bombed around the jungle at night, seeing the ruins lit up all pretty. If the lyrics are to be believed, young Pharrell Williams is up all night to get lucky, and it occurred to me, as potentially the oldest member of the XboxEra community, being up all night for any reason, especially to get lucky, even if it sounds appealing, is often the furthest thing from my mind. Panel, how late would you consider staying up to get lucky? I must say, if it's much later than Corrie, then Cerys is already half asleep. Buenos noches.
So for reference,
Wait.
Corrie airs at about 8 p.m.
Oh, does it? Okay.
Yeah.
Edit. I also have another question based on Barbarella, which I wanted to ask, and I fear it's too much. Please remind me next week. That gives you all a chance to watch in preparation.
Okay.
How late would I stay up to get lucky?
To get lucky.
All night.
Yeah.
I'd stay up all night.
I'm not ashamed to say that as well.
Or I'd get up in the middle of the night. I don't care. I'll be woken up for that.
Yep.
That's okay.
I'm in alignment with you, bro. I'm there.
You want to wake me up for that? I'm not going to say no.
Yep. No complaints. He's right. And I think that's probably the answer from all of us.
I am, I don't know. What can I say? I'm not going to say no. Gecko Gamer with a super chat. The only big publisher who really underutilized their IP is Activision. The company exists since the Atari days, but only makes COD. That is full on. I'm surprised not more people question why a publisher as big as Activision effectively makes one game.
Yeah, they are
just one.
A terrible.
That is staggering. That is staggering. Like even EA, like people want to dump on EA. At least EA puts out stuff. They don't just put out sports titles. They put out stuff. One of their games is in the running for Game of the Year, which we forgot to mention. It Takes Two.
Oh,
like,
God.
Yeah, we forgot It Takes Two.
We did.
Like, EA at least puts out stuff, and they try stuff. They even brought us back Mirror's Edge, which we were all crying for. They didn't do it properly, but they still brought it back. Activision is just like, we're either doing COD or we're milking something old.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
When was the last time, and again, answer, I'm asking in earnest because I don't know. When was the last time Activision put out just some new IP thing to try something new?
Destiny 2013.
Was that Activision's though?
They published it. You're asking if Activision the publisher, when was the last time they published it?
No. Hold on. Sorry. Let me be more specific if we're going to play that game. Yeah, but even Sekiro. Like, Sekiro and Destiny were both things that those developers were going to make. They just found a publisher for them. I'm talking, so...
Their internal
When was
studios.
the last time... Yes, when was the last time an internal studio at Activision... No, Crash Bandicoot 4 is not a new IP. When was the last time an internal studio at Activision, High Moon, Raven, did something that wasn't licensed, because High Moon did Transformers, Raven did Wolverine... When was the last time an internal studio at Activision was just allowed to make a new game, a new IP, some brand new thing to try out and create a franchise for Activision? When was the last time?
I think it was Transformers back.
But that's licensed. That's licensed.
Oh, God.
It's Transformers. So it's obviously a licensed thing, and which Activision does a lot. They did it with Marvel. They've done it with... When was the last time they just did something new? EA did Mirror's Edge. EA did Mirror's Edge. EA did... What was that other one?
Do we count Blizzard games like Overwatch? Because that's technically
Were they under Activision with Overwatch? Had that merge happened yet?
Not sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
But
I'm just saying,
I can't think of anything off the top of my head is...
In the end... Singularity in 2010 by Raven. And then when that didn't do well, they became a COD support studio. so there you go. Like, to me, it's bonkers that a publisher as big as Activision just does basically nothing new.
Yeah, the chat is telling us that the merger did happen, and then they released Overwatch. So technically Overwatch. But yeah, Blur 2010. What a travesty! It was a really great game if you've never played it.
And Bazaar is now gone.
Shocking.
Bazaar is now gone.
Should have gone to Microsoft. Bazaar.
They should have, and they could have been making Project Gotham Racing.
Yeah,
couldn't they? I still think that there's a lot of missed opportunities. Like we could do an entire episode about acquisitions and missed opportunities, like buying BioWare and man, so many. Okay. Next question. Kraken 56. To no one's surprise, Forza Horizon 5 is a critical success. I am excited to see what Playground does with Fable. It has been 4 years since they started the second team hiring top talent from the industry like Rockstar, Rocksteady, and Ubisoft, just to name a few. They are hiring a big team and investing a lot. Xbox wants this to be a flagship title and are investing accordingly. I think it will capture a lot of attention from people who aren't invested in Xbox like most of us are. I hope they can nail the combat and create good side quests that engross you in a beautiful open world while still keeping the Fable charm. I have a couple of questions. What year do you think it will release? 2024. I reckon. 2023 fall at the earliest. 2023 fall. But I think 2024 in the end, but possible 2023 fall. When and where will we see gameplay? Maybe Game Awards?
2023.
You don't think maybe the Game Awards this year is possible?
What, for Fable?
Yeah. Gameplay.
I reckon we'll get a teaser, an in-engine teaser this time. I don't think we'll see gameplay. That's an E3 thing.
Fair enough. What can Playground do to make the Fable IP modern and successful? I don't know if I want them to do the modern thing, as in make sure that it's padded out and have, I don't know, whatever microtransactions. And I don't know if I want them to do that, honestly. Let it be Fable. Just let it be Fable 1, but now.
Yeah, we'll see.
What Halo's doing, the spiritual reboot thing, but then Halo is taking on a lot of the modern stuff, so
I'm sure we'll see interesting things. Playground, you can't sleep on Playground. They've made that very evident. And I get it, it's a different team, but it's still got a lot of the same leadership team. It's going to be a good game. Fingers crossed.
Yeah. I'd be surprised if Fable is not a decent quality game.
Yeah.
At the least, a decent quality game. Yes, people are rightly concerned that a studio that only makes racing games is now doing a third-person RPG, action RPG, whatever you want to call it. But talent is talent in the end. And I believe they've hired appropriately for this game. So yes, rightly, they understood that racing is their lane, pardon the pun, but they have hired for an action RPG. They've hired combat designers from studios that make those types of games. They've hired narrative people from studios that do that. I'd like to believe that Playground know what they're doing, and they've probably earned the benefit of the doubt to be given a chance to show that they're just a great studio, full stop, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah.
We'll see.
Okay. Let's see. Commander Buck. Hi, Nick, John, and Destin. Destin has left, but that's okay. First, congrats on reaching 10K. Thank you very much. I'm really proud of the work you have all done. My question is, when does holiday season start for you all?
December the 9th.
Yeah, I don't know the official thing, but I guess December for us.
I think if he's referencing XboxEra as a whole, we'll get Halo done. We'll get anything else in early December done, and then
you owe me a Halo code. You owe me a Halo code. You broke my streak of owning Forza Horizon games,
bro. You
broke my streak.
You offered. I even said, "Are you sure, man?" Like, honestly, I'm not that bad. And you were like, "No." I was like, "Last chance." You were
whatever.
Like, "No, you can't."
Actually, you know who you should really be thanking for that code? You know who you should really be thanking for that code? No, Jesse is who you should really be thanking for that code. Because if he hadn't brought you up, I would have just kept the code for myself.
Well, you enabled us to make another video.
John really wants it, and this, that, the other, and I'm like,
I was working on a video. I was working on a video, and bless Jesse, he was trying to capture clips for me, but I was like, I really want to be specific with it, but because I didn't have it, I couldn't do it, and he was already flat out trying to get the review done. So yeah, your code helped make another successful video for the XboxEra channel. So your sacrifice was not in vain. But yeah, to the broader question of XboxEra, and the team will stick around because we're all nerds, and we'll be online, we'll be in the forums. But I think everybody in this team, all of the hard work over this year, all deserve to, frankly, take some time off and just play for fun. No one's going to be stopped if they want to stream, if they want to do X, Y, and Z. But yeah, once all the big games are out, we'll be taking it easy till January, and then we'll do some Game of the Year fun stuff, and we'll do Game of the Year voting and stuff like that. The community will be able to vote. We have a really great platform thing in the background that does a year in review on the forums. Give us the wall of shame across the forums, who's been the worst poster and the most talked about, the most ignored, all of those fun things. So it's going to be a good time.
Speaking of walls of shame, can I go off on a tangent?
You can go off on a tangent, my man.
One of my Rocket League mates just gave me, I don't know where he got them, but he got my stats for Rocket League. I'm in the top 0.8% for wins. Wow. I'm in the top 1.1% for goals. I'm in the top 0.03% for assists. That's why I call myself the Pastronaut in Rocket League. I'm in the top 1.3% for MVPs. I'm in the top 0.7% for shots, 0.6% for saves, and top 1% for TRN score. I don't even know what that is. Yeah, I play a lot of Rocket League. I play a lot of Rocket League.
Clearly.
A lot of Rocket League, to the point where I basically bought a Series X just to play Rocket League at 120. Like that's effectively all I did.
Wow. There you go.
Oh, man. Got myself a BMW. As I said, I've wanted a BMW my whole life. It's been my dream since I was a teenager to have a BMW. And I got one the only way I could afford how? In Rocket League. It's funny. Major Nelson did a giveaway of Forza Horizon 5. And he said, Free Code Friday that he does? And he said, what's your dream car and where would you drive it? And I replied saying, my dream car is the 1994 BMW 850i. It's like probably the most timeless car design of all time. It is a car that was designed in 1990 and still looks good today, 30 years later. Albert Pinello replied to me. And he goes, hey, I've got a BMW 840i. And I've got the 850 diff on it and blah, blah. I was like, oh, my God, I'm so jealous of you. And then we got into a DM on Twitter, and he's a car collector, and he's got Beamers and this. Oh, it was so cool.
We'll have to get him on. It'd be great to have him on the show.
I messaged him back in June. I'm like, we want you on the podcast. He's like, I can't right now, blah, blah. I will keep trying to get him on. He's in the Discord. He's in the Discord. I'll keep trying to get him on. I love Albert. Albert's very cool. And he also knows what it is to get in trouble for saying stuff. And to have those things held against you for like 73 years.
Yeah, he does know. He does.
Okay. That was a tangent and a half. I'm going to hate doing these timestamps.
Yeah.
Frank Ortiz has another question. Sorry, I know that I've already gone and you will probably be getting questions up the wazoo about this, but I wanted to point out one thing written in the press release for the Sega Xbox Alliance. In the very last sentence, it states, Microsoft and Sega have agreed in principle a strategic alliance. That part stood out as it was in principle. Does this mean their relationship has gotten to a point where the two parties possibly did not even write up a contract or sign documents? Was it simply a handshake or verbal agreement that we will try this new venture out and see where it may go? I think something like this has to have paperwork.
Yeah, I think an agreement in principle is a legal term.
Yeah, I didn't want to say anything before, but I still think this is more than people think it is. Again, personally, I don't know anything. I legitimately don't know anything. I think I said on air, I got told months ago, there's something going on between Sega and Microsoft. Clearly, that's what this was. I still think this might be a step towards something more. I said this on Boom's podcast, and I'll say it again here. Yeah. I would be personally surprised. This is just me talking now. I would be personally surprised if Sega aren't acquired by Microsoft within the next 5 years. I would be surprised. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I don't know. I don't know anything about it.
Yeah.
But I would personally be surprised. Sega have been, like, look at everything that's been happening. The Game Pass deal. Sega's been shedding a lot of businesses to lean themselves up. Then you've got this deal that's happened, which is all about Sega seemingly using Microsoft's platforms and tools to develop big games at scale. It just feels like this just continues to grow and grow and grow and grow and grow. And it's probably building towards something. That's going to get screen grabbed now. And it's going to end up in articles when it's not what I'm trying to say.
He's gone out with a question mark on it. Agreement.
I don't know.
The nearest term I can think of is when you get a mortgage in the UK, when you go to the lender and you say, I want to buy this house and I have this much money. And they say, okay, we'll do the math. Okay, yes, you have an agreement in principle. Here it is in writing. We agree that if you apply, this is what we'll offer you. So that's the basis of my understanding of that phrase. But, I'm sure Hoeg Law has probably done a video on it. So maybe go check out his channel. I'm sure he's done something.
Isn't it Hoeg?
Hoeg, yeah, sorry.
It's Hoeg.
It's coming up to 1 a.m. I brain slipped.
I'm always going to pronounce it Sega.
Yeah.
I'm always going to pronounce it Sega.
For pronouncing Hoeg.
And it's natural to me because, for example, everyone says beta when it's beta, right? But if you think about the spelling, it's very similar. BETA SEGA. So if I've always said beta my whole life, naturally I'm going to say Sega.
True, but then if you're also a Sega fanboy that grew up on those consoles and every game doing that.
I know. I'm still going to say Sega. I don't care.
Okay.
I acknowledge that I'm saying it different to how the company itself pronounces it.
True. Yes, you are.
I acknowledge that. I fully acknowledge it, and I'm not going to change. I'm going to keep calling it Sega.
Okay.
I physically can't bring myself to say Sega. I just can't.
It's a thing.
I can't do it.
You've made it a thing. It's okay.
It hurts. It hurts me. It physically hurts me to say Sega. It's too odd. I've been saying Sega for 40 years. I'm not going to suddenly just be like, okay, Sega. No, it's Sega. No. It's always going to be Sega to me. I noticed that MVG has tried to start saying Sega because he also used to say Sega. And ever since we brought it up on the podcast, I've noticed him now saying Sega.
Amazing.
Maybe it's a Melbourne thing. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows? It's definitely an Australian thing.
Yeah, maybe. Next. DirtyFlint. Sorry, guys. Too busy playing Forza to write a question. Can you guys just make engine noises for a second instead? Hey, what was that? Where'd that come from? Oh, did you have that ready? I should have had Rocket League ready. There's heaps of engine sounds in Rocket League. Yeah. Heaps of them.
I thought that'd be more fun.
Big Glow 25. Hello, guys. Hey, fellas, do you think the Xbox anniversary has a few surprises, like not new announcements, but a re-reveal of a game they have announced before?
Yeah, we kind of covered that.
Yeah, I wanted to talk more about it, though. But I felt weird getting into rumor stuff and stuff I've heard with Destin here. So I tried to avoid it. I don't know. I don't know if they'll do new stuff. I don't think they'll be, because in the end, it's about looking back. So why would they do new stuff? If it's all about looking back, having said that, though, something I've heard isn't about looking back. You can spin anything, yeah? You can spin anything however you want to spin it. So, I think, was it you or Destin that alluded to it? You can, for example, show new Fable and say, Fable has a storied history with Xbox. Here's a little bit on the new one.
Yeah.
I guess you can spin it that way if you want to. Yeah.
Do you want to... go on.
What?
Nothing. Go on. It's fine. It's a different subject. It's a different subject. It's fine.
Look, I think there'll be potentially be surprises in terms of stuff that people aren't expecting to see there.
Yeah.
I think. And I think that there's stuff that they're probably trying to get done in time for it.
Well,
I know Destin said scramble. There's not scrambling per se. It's more there is probably stuff they would like to be able to show or announce or say, but it's reliant on something. I don't know. I don't know.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean. But on that topic, I've just been given a DM. I know, guys, right? That's usually Nick's line. I've just received a DM. One of the team, one of our news hounds, has just found a little scoop, and I'm sure they'll put the article out on XboxEra shortly. But Arx Fatalis from Arcane Studios, which was an old game from back in 2002, has just appeared as rated for Xbox in Brazil. He's just discovered that. Is that on the backwards compatible list? Isn't that interesting? Maybe we've
wasn't Arx Fatalis part of that list that came out?
Possibly, but it's just appeared on the rating sheet, so it lends further weight to it. But
I can't remember that. I have to look at that list now. I can't remember it off the top of my head, but I thought Arx Fatalis was part of it. I know there was Gun Valkyrie. Yes, Gun Valkyrie. I'm happy to pronounce properly. Oh no, Advent Rising was the one I was thinking of. Not Arx Fatalis. The list that I was referring to that True Achievements came out with was Dead or Alive 3, Dead or Alive Ultimate, Advent Rising, Chicken Little, Full Spectrum Warrior 2, Gladius, and Gun Val. You know what? Chicken Little is what makes me think it's legit.
Yeah.
Because rather than just being a list of games that everyone wants, it's got Chicken Little on it.
Yeah.
That's the part that makes me think it's real. But even if that list is real, I doubt that's it. There'd be others. Like, I reckon, and I reckon they've been trying to build up that list of games for that anniversary stream. You can't just have like 5 or 6 games. Like, it's got to be a big list, surely. You're muted.
Oh, sorry. I was saying I agree. It's got to be a big, chunky list.
Yeah, especially OG. Especially OG.
You've got to celebrate it. That's the whole point of the show. But interestingly, I was just scanning through the chat and I just saw from Jeff, acquisitions for the 20th anniversary event, yay or nay?
Maybe that's one of the things they're trying to get done. Maybe. Like, and again, when I started talking about how you can spin things, because why would you do an acquisition? Why would you announce an acquisition at an event that's supposed to be a look back at the history of Xbox? But again, you can spin it however you want. Xbox has had a long storied history with Developer X, and they made this game for us, and they made this game for us. Now we'd love to welcome them to the family of Xbox Game Studios, blah, 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 blah. You can spin it however the hell you want it. So maybe that's one of the things they want to get done for the anniversary stream. Maybe there's an acquisition they've been working on for a while, and they're hoping to have it done before it.
We were talking about headlines and not wanting to.
Come on, that's not a headline. I'm saying,
they'll find a way.
Come
to make
on,
a headline,
that's not a. I'm saying like
works.
Come on, surely not. I'm just saying like. Someone asked an acquisition, and I'm saying, what if that's a thing they want to get done beforehand? I don't know. I'm just
Bruno's
saying.
In the chat, he's saying the OG publisher of Arx Fatalis was later acquired by the now parent company of THQ Nordic, which has 7 OG Xbox games that are backwards compatible. Is there a relationship there?
Yeah, but that's what happens. Like with these, like I said, with the backwards compatible things, it's not about the technical capability. It's all licensing.
Yeah,
all of it. It's all licensing. And does this publisher still exist? Does this developer exist? Does the music that's on stage 3? What is the band that did it still in existence? Do we have to talk to them? Like, it's crazy. I mean, look at Alan Wake Remastered. It all had to get removed. Duracell batteries, this, that, the other. All that stuff had to get removed from the game. Like, licensing causes a problem. So that's most of this, and that's why I'm surprised that a lot of the BC games that theoretically shouldn't have problems aren't there. Like Sega Soccer Slam. The developer still exists. Yes, they are now owned by Nintendo, but that shouldn't be an issue. It's published by Sega, who they've got the relationship with. There's no licensed stuff in the game. And it's backwards compatible on 360. So it's just, I don't know. It's odd. There are some games that are odd to me that they're not there yet. But hopefully a lot of them will come. You know, a lot of people are asking for Jet Set Radio Future.
Yeah.
That's another one of those games where I'm surprised it's not there yet, but maybe there's music issues there. I don't know.
Maybe that'll change next Monday after next. So not just
hopefully
coming, but
because I know a lot of people are asking for Jet Set Radio Future.
Yeah, for sure.
Phalaxis. Morning, John, Nick, and Destin. Since it's Forza Horizon 5 week, I figured a question around that would be ideal. I'm having a blast hooning around Mexico, and I can't help but wonder what Playground Games have in the works for the 2 expansions. From past expansions, they do go all out on another large map area and always packed with content. Hot Wheels expansion was a surprise standout for me. So that brings me to my question. What would you guys like to see in a Forza Horizon 5 expansion? Bonus question, what car from Forza Horizon 5 would the cast members of Friends drive?
A beige Volvo.
Joey would drive a Porsche.
It's Porsche.
Ross, yeah. Ross would drive the what was it? The convertible.
Yeah, it was like a Roadster or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, that got stuck between the 2 cars that they had to try and get out, and he Austin Powers that. Trying to Austin Powers it out of the car spot.
Phoebe would have an old school 1950s yellow cab.
Yeah, she'd have a beat up old yellow cab. Rachel would have like a Merc.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's easy.
I don't know
expansions for Forza Horizon.
I have no idea.
You know what I want?
Scratched the surface of the world, so I don't.
The Hot Wheels one was so good. That Hot Wheels one was
it's not been topped
so
for
good.
me.
Yeah, that was amazing, that Hot Wheels one. The Lego one was, it was okay. For me, I want a Rocket League crossover. Serious? Have a Rocket League crossover. And you drive those proper cars into a giant soccer stadium and
they've got the stadium in the game.
Boot a ball around and, you're in Mexico. Just, do a Rocket League crossover. I reckon that'd be cool. That's mine. Rocket League. That's my one. Have we missed any super chats? We have.
Yes, we missed
Gecko Gamer.
2. Yep.
If Ultima rebooted, how would it look like? I never played Ultima, so I can't comment.
Yeah, like I know what Ultima is, but I wasn't a fan. Did not grow up on Ultima. I'm sorry to say, Gecko.
It would look like an MMO. It would look like those standard MMO Final Fantasy Star type of thing, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Isn't that effectively what Ultima was the precursor to?
Yeah, it wouldn't be like the it wouldn't be like this graphical all singing all dancing thing.
No.
But I don't know enough about Ultima to really give you a good answer. I'm sorry to say, Gecko.
I never played Ultima, unfortunately, so I don't know. I assume it would be
my time.
Yeah, I assume it would be like an online MMO action RPG thing, is my guess.
They probably ruin it, is real answer for Ultima fans.
EA owns that IP, do they not? I believe it's EA, but I could be wrong on that one. Again, I don't know enough about Ultima. Faisal. Finally caught up. Who are these deep-voiced, non-chipmunk sounding, normal speed talking panel members?
I love it.
That would be weird. Okay. Man. Creaky legs. Hello, lads. As I was lathering myself in the shower to last week's podcast talking about Killer Instinct and free-to-play games, I started zoning out to 6 dulcet tones. And it got me thinking about how sometimes, as great of a deal as Game Pass is, it feels like sometimes Xbox and Game Pass don't mesh as well as they should. So how do we not have more expansions or story DLC available from first party for Game Pass Ultimate members like Gears 5 Hivebusters? It would probably make people stay subscribed or resub, I would think. I agree. I thought they were going to start doing that because they did it with Gears 5, I want to say. Or 4. Yeah. Was it 5 or 4?
I would say
where Ultimate subscribers got the Ultimate edition of Gears.
Yeah, I mean, I think they experimented
with
it. It was Gears 5, but
yes.
I think on the wider topic of why don't we get more of these kind of short and sweet packs, like these editions, these expansions.
We should.
I agree we should, but I would just carefully remind people of Half-Life Episode 1 and 2 and how scope creep and technology and motion capture and doing all of these cool things to get it up to the level that people want and demand, they can't make it fast enough to get it to you. They have to content plan this stuff and have it pretty much ready before the game's even out, and then they'll time it. And that's the only way you're really going to get this stuff, is to have it planned from day one. I just don't think there's a world where games can be made fast enough unless you're killing your developers, which I don't think Microsoft wants to do. I don't disagree, though. I would love to see more stuff like that, but I just don't think that it's easy enough. It's very easy to say, not so easy to actually do.
Okay. Next part, also with backwards compatibility rumored to return, it's also worth noting that over 75 titles I counted on the store have been delisted from the program. 20 plus were Xbox exclusives, including the entire Halo franchise on 360 and OG Xbox, which I don't understand why they would do that to the old Halo games. I agree. People keep telling me it's because they are shutting the online off or because they want you to play MCC. But the single player exists. Those are still original versions of those games, and MCC came out nearly 2 years before the BC was even a thing, which is what I said on Xbox One to play those old games. It doesn't even hurt them to just let those games exist on the store for $10 each, with the disclaimer that only the single player and local co-op can be played. It just feels counter to the whole game preservation narrative, in my opinion. I'm going to go draw a bubble bath and pout now over this thing I'll probably forget about later. Anyways, cheers to you lovely lads. This is what I said. Yeah. They talked about Halo 1 and 2 being BC after Master Chief Collection had been announced, and I think even released. Like, there's no excuse. Like, Halo 1 especially doesn't have online, so there's no OG Xbox Live to worry about. What does it hurt? It's not like there's this swathe of people that are going to abandon Master Chief Collection to go play OG Halo CE. Like,
you say that,
and it's a way to get some easy, quick money out of people. They'll just go and buy it for $5-10 just to have it.
Yeah,
I mean, I've already got it, I think, digitally on
same
360.
Yeah,
so that would become backwards compatible and it would appear in my games list. But there's a bunch of people that would just buy it for the sake of completion, to have the entire Halo collection on their Xbox platform. Like, why not? Why not?
I think it's just one of those things. Maybe I don't disagree with any of the points made. I just, it's just, I guess for me personally, it's not that big a deal. It's not on my list.
But Halo Anniversary on 360 is backwards compatible. And they're not worried about that taking people away from Master Chief Collection because it's on Master Chief Collection.
Yeah, I don't know.
There is literally no reason for the original CE. You could potentially argue with Halo 2 that it's got the online portion to it, and that's shut down, so they don't want it there. Maybe you could argue that.
And the licensing they're not allowed to use anymore because it was replaced in MCC.
CE doesn't have that excuse, though.
No.
CE should be backwards compatible. There's no excuse. And Fable. Why isn't Fable backwards compatible? Like, it's just...
Maybe there's a technical reason, right? Maybe it will be come 2 weeks from now.
Doubt it.
We'll find out.
It's backwards compatible on 360. I don't know. It's just, to me, given Microsoft's goals, given their ethos, given their principles, given all of those things... To me, you'd think they would be making an effort to get as many backwards compatible games out there as physically possible. Because to me, when you trumpet stuff like, play 4 generations of Xbox games on this one platform, blah, 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 and then you go and look at OG Xbox and it's like 40 games. It's like, oh, come on. Like, get more games on there. Like, at least with 360, yes, there's a few games that people would love to have, but on the whole, they've got like 500-600 backwards compatible 360 games. That's a pretty decent pile. At least get OG Xbox to 100 and cover your major games that everyone bought and loved that aren't licensing nightmares.
I think
do you know what I mean?
Something like 687 original Xbox games.
Wasn't it closer to 1,000?
I don't know. I might be wrong, but there's a lot.
But the funny thing is, if you see the list of backwards compatible OG games on 360, it's massive.
Oh god, yeah,
it's actually massive.
It's much larger than. I think that's an architecture thing as well. So I think maybe there is a technical reason, but what do I know, man?
But there's 360, but there is 360 hooks built into like the Xbox One's APU. So it still shouldn't have been an issue. It still has to be licensing.
It's got to be something.
I don't know. I personally think they should be pushing way more OG Xbox games to backwards compatibility. At the very least, target your big name stuff. Dead or Alive. Imagine being able to say that you are the only platform that has the entire Dead or Alive series. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Imagine that. This comes back to that stuff I say all the time. Be the home of something.
Yeah.
Hey, we're the home of every Dead or Alive game, every Halo game, every Gears game, every Splinter Cell game, every Fable game, every I don't know, what's another franchise that basically got the entirety of an Xbox? Doom, Wolfenstein,
Elder Scrolls.
You can say we are the home of franchises. Like we are the only platform that can give you even the original game that's from 1996. Like we are the only platform that can do that. That's something they should be leaning into.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I do not disagree. But
you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
they need to do that.
Whether they will.
Okay. Next, DeoGame. So, at long last, an MCU film is rotten. Not to be outdone, it also earned the worst audience cinema score in franchise history, in line with, among other films, Catwoman and Green Lantern. Why is this important? Well, it shows that, like all things, audiences and critics have their lines drawn and can start to become disillusioned with the new it thing. This past gen, the critical it thing has been mostly third-person action games. The generation before, it was FPS titles. The one before that, arguably MMOs. The one before that was JRPGs. While none of these genres have died out, they all naturally reached an inflection point where a newer genre took the cake in terms of critical and commercial appraisal. I am aware that free-to-play titles like Fortnite dominate the charts, but do not have the critics fully on board. What do you think will be the inflection point for a shift in tastes? What genre do you think will do it? And do you think Microsoft is well equipped? I'm personally of the belief cloud-enhanced social titles and MMOs will be the next big thing. And I think Microsoft is right to start preparing. Gen Z has proven quite enamored with pushing the creative boundaries of their entertainment, and I think this evolution is the next step. I suspect they will start to really take off in the latter half of the gen. What are your thoughts? This is an interesting question.
It is a very weighted question. There's a lot here.
Yeah, we're living in a weird time where the market leader, even though it's really Nintendo, where the market leader in a certain space has a certain genre that they excel in. But the problem is that the majority of those in the media with influence don't want to let go. They don't want to let go of their single player games, and they will use their platforms, rightly so. This isn't me knocking them. I love Rocket League. I'm going to use my platform to push Rocket League all the time. Because those in the media love their single player action adventure third-person games, they are going to use their platforms to keep those games relevant and push those games. Again, this isn't me knocking that strategy. It's a natural thing to do. You have a thing you love. If you have a platform, you're going to use it to push the thing you love. Maximilian loves fighting games. He's going to use his sizable platform to champion those and support those, isn't he? That's just a natural thing to do. So it's a weird situation where something else can take off, but it might take off in an unnoticed way. So in our sphere, in our hardcore gamer sphere, it's all about third-person, slow walk and talk action adventure games. But in the background where we don't see in our blind spot, in our hardcore gamer blind spot, Roblox exists.
Yeah.
And it's this giant thing that makes so much more money than any of those 10 million, 15 million, 20 million selling games that it's actually quite humorous.
Yeah.
None of us care about Roblox.
No.
But it's this huge thing in the background that's there and it's bigger than all of them.
Yeah, it's much to Destin's point earlier on about, we are like 0.8% of the actual market of people that play video games.
But the thing is, people with big platforms keep, Jeff Keighley loves his single-player action adventure games. And he has a gigantic platform where he is going to keep those relevant, which is the Game Awards. He is going to keep those things relevant.
I think DeoGame's right, though, in that there is an opportunity for a different type of game. I mean, Battle Royale was the game of last gen, right?
Yes, but even Battle Royales, though, they weren't part of that hardcore gamer zeitgeist.
No.
But outside of that, they're massive. Fortnite, despite rumors to the contrary, is still huge. Even though it doesn't exist on iOS anymore. It's still huge. It's just, that's why with DeoGame's question, it's a weird one to answer. Within the hardcore gamer sphere, something may come along and take the attention away. But it depends. It depends if you can get on board those with influence within that circle.
Yeah.
So if all the big name reviewers and the Jeff Keighley's of the world suddenly become enamored with Western RPGs, Western action RPGs, which is what Microsoft is poised to dominate, then that could be the thing. But they need a game that starts that. So the game that kickstarted where we are now is probably, depends how far back you want to go. It's either Uncharted or The Last of Us. That is the game that kickstarted where we are now in terms of what's popular.
The Last of Us or Uncharted 2 maybe.
Yeah. That's why I said it depends how far back you want to go. But it was either Uncharted, Last of Us, whatever the case may be. Even though the first game to do it the last generation was Rise.
I know.
The game that actually kickstarted where we are is The Last of Us. So there's going to need to be another game that comes along that knocks us off that trajectory and puts us towards another one. Will it be one of Microsoft's? I don't know. Will it be Avowed? Will it be Fable? Will it be whatever else Obsidian is working on? Will it be what In Exile is working on? I don't know. But it usually takes a game to do it, like Last of Us did.
I mean, I'd love to see 1 versus 100 suddenly be revamped and appear again and take over the world.
Wait. Hey, Jesse. I know Jesse's there in the background. What we spoke about yesterday, can we say anything or no? Or will someone get in trouble? Go in the private chat. Go in the private chat. Should we say anything or would this person rather we didn't say anything?
What are we speaking about? What are we speaking
I'm not going to say it.
Okay. I don't understand.
I'm typing to Jesse in the private chat. Again, I don't want articles. I don't want to get anyone in trouble.
Oh.
We shouldn't talk, should we? No. Okay. We won't.
Okay. Can you fill me in on the private chat? Because that's news to me. But yeah, man, I don't
want to get someone in trouble. I don't want to get someone in trouble if we're not meant to talk about this thing.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Boom. Right. Shush then. So
okay.
I'd like it to not be 1 a.m. so I could. Sorry, chat. There are things. I would love for it to not be 1 a.m. so I could really think about this question because it's a really good one. DeoGame, wholeheartedly recommend. You get a thread up on the forums about this because I think there's a lot of decent conversation around this question, like loads. Love to see it and be a part of it, but probably not at 1 a.m. I have to admit, I can't get my brain around the magnitude of it. But I think you're on the right line. I think there's something there, but it has to do something different. We'll see.
Next question.
Yeah.
Good old Collingwood. Top of the morning, John, Nick, and Destin. Deza? That's a very Australian thing. We would call Destin Deza. If it was Daryl, Dazza.
Jeremy, Jezza.
Yeah. With Shuhei Yoshida from Sony tweeting, congratulations to Phil Spencer on the launch of Forza Horizon 5. Do you think that Sony and Nintendo will continue to share the love next week and wish Xbox a happy 20th anniversary? Ooh, Nintendo never does that. Never does that stuff.
Nintendo
Do
officially,
they?
but Doug Bowser does.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know if Sony will. I don't know. That's an interesting question. I don't know.
Yeah.
Every now and again, like, Corey Barlog was showing himself playing Gears 5. Fanboys got very upset about that. I don't know. Maybe you'll have that sort of situation where someone like a Corey will show his original Xbox and say, 20 years. I can't believe it's been 20 years. I still remember playing such and such a game, blah, 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 something like that. I don't know if you'll see the official channels do it. As with the last few weeks, I've been asking questions relating to the 20th anniversary and Xbox's history. This time, this will be a little more personal. Last year, Phil Spencer declared that everything that Xbox has been, is, and will be is you, the gamer. In the countdown leading to the start of the Xbox E3 2021 showcase, the images weren't of games or of Xbox suits, but of Xbox fans and gamers. So my question is to you. Who are the best Xbox fans you know who have contributed to yours and other people's enjoyment of gaming and on the Xbox? Good old Collingwood. Who is looking forward to all the Xbox cakes being baked this week? That's actually a pretty good question.
Who inspired me?
The Xbox fans. That's an interesting question. I mean, Max, like someone like Maximilian is one, with how much he pushed Killer Instinct and got everyone to love Killer Instinct. A lot of people love Clobbrill.
Yeah,
and everything he does.
I have to say, for me, it would probably be Klob. Like, he was probably a big inspiration for wanting to go all out with the site. Beyond just our podcast, he was probably one of the biggest inspirations for really actually getting into content creation. And look, he did the official banner work for the Xbox Wire post of the consecutive games that Xbox are releasing. I'm sure he might be doing more. It sounds like he's got a really good relationship. He's, Aaron Greenberg's always retweeting his stuff. I think that's excellent. The fact that Klob started as a fan, and he was always objective. He'll be very loud when he thinks Microsoft are making a mistake. But
a bit of a leaker.
Yeah, and clearly, there's been a conversation there because the leaking doesn't happen so much anymore. But
doesn't really happen anymore.
But he does say he's always positive, and that is really what kind of inspired me a little bit. So yeah, outside of that, I can't think of anyone particularly more deserving of that mention than Klob. He's a nice guy as well, to boot.
But there's other like, for me personally speaking, and my Twitter followers and people who I follow, there's lesser known people that aren't big names in the community that are still cool people. Like there's a gentleman who was in our chat just before, Xbuds. I think his name is Xbuds, who's a pretty cool guy.
Yep.
There's people whose names I've seen for years, whether it's on Twitter, Instagram, forums, like Resident Dante. Yeah. A lot of these guys that were like, there's a lot of these guys that were like me that grew up as Sega fanboys that naturally gravitated towards Xbox just because it felt like the evolution of Sega. People like that, the lesser known people. Yeah. Because it's easy to say Rand, it's easy to say Colt, it's easy to say these sorts of people, but there's the lesser known people that are cool too when it comes to Xbox stuff. I'm trying to think who else. The Iron Lords.
Oh, the Iron Lords are great. It's so
not
great.
Not that they're lesser known, but who was it? There's someone else. Razor, who I think was in our chat as well. Oh, there he is. He appeared right as I said that. There's lots of people. It's the Xbox community is a pretty cool one.
It is best community,
and so is the Sly Cooper one. I said that on Twitter. The Sly Cooper community is very, very passionate. I get so many DMs and Twitter tags about Sly Cooper, but on the whole, they're actually quite nice. I don't get abuse hurled at me by them. like I do many others. They're quite a nice community, this Sly Cooper community. And guys, if I knew more, honestly, I would say. If I knew more, I would say. I don't know who's making it. I don't know when it's coming out. All I've been told is that it's happening. All I've been told is Sly Cooper's happening. That's it. That's basically as much as I've been told.
Yeah.
You know, for the people that love Sly Cooper, that's great. I've only played the one game on PS3. I've never been a giant Sly. I was more Jack and Daxter. From that generation of games, I was more a Jack and Daxter guy as opposed to Sly. I love Jack and Daxter. The first Jack and Daxter is, for me, my personal favorite Naughty Dog game. The first Jack and Daxter on PlayStation 2. That is my favorite Naughty Dog game. Before they went all cinematic and forcing me to slow down and watch movies, and it was just when it was all about the gameplay and collecting the precursor orbs and blah, 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 blah. I love the Jack and Daxter games. I say games. The first one was the best one, I thought. 2 and 3 less so. This is quite a tangent, but it is. It's a tangent I got into now. Jack, have you played it?
No.
Really? It's good. Jack and Daxter is a really, really good game. And I had Daxter on PSP. That was cool too. But that wasn't by Naughty Dog.
No.
But for me, it's funny. We didn't really do what have we been playing. But I started The Last of Us 2.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I started it. A lot of cutscenes. A lot of cutscenes. Luckily, Naughty Dog lets you skip them. So I've been skipping all the cutscenes and have no idea what the game's about. And the game tries to slow me down a lot. Like there's a lot of slow walk and talk.
Gamers like to have their hands held.
It's just, it's okay. It's a pretty good game. Yeah, it is what it is. Luckily, I can skip the cutscenes. Okay, proven. I think we're almost at the end. We are, actually. This is the last question. We're there. Proven. Hello, John, Nick, and Destin. Sorry, Destin's not here anymore. We are a little over a week from the Xbox 20th anniversary stream. Is there anything you've heard will be there that will excite fans? Or is there anything you're hoping will be there in terms of announcements or gameplay reveals? Jez Corden seems to indicate that the show is a must-watch on his podcast. So it seems like the show will be pretty good. Also, question for Destin. What is the one Xbox first-party game announced, unannounced, or rumored that you are most excited for? Personally, for me, it's a toss-up between Halo, Fable, and Starfield. Maybe I'll answer on behalf of Destin and say Halo.
Yeah.
He seems to be very excited about Halo.
Classic.
Yeah, poor John, he wants bed. I've had a talk to John about this, and he needs to stop making it visibly obvious that he is tired.
It's really hard.
He needs to stop doing that.
I stifle yawns. I
do that a bit too.
I like yawn like this, where I'm like,
and your eyes go all funny because you're keeping the yawn in.
The thing is,
you make that funny face when you're holding in a yawn, and you're like,
yeah. I mean, it's bad. It's bad. I like the community will understand why. Like, I've been mentioning this in many podcasts. There's a lot going on at the moment. A lot of work, a lot of cool things that we're doing, and I can't wait to be able to talk about them. And you'll see me feel visibly like the weight of the world is lifted off my shoulders. But it won't be for another couple of weeks. But when it does, oh boy, you're going to be excited. Lots of things. But yeah,
okay.
I will try.
The 20th anniversary stream.
Yeah, sorry, tangent.
Can we do predictions, or should we save that for next week's show just before it?
Ooh, yeah, let's do predictions next week's show because we'll be right on the cusp for the show itself. I think that's a good.
Even though we've kind of already said what we think or expect.
Yeah, but that could all change in the next week depending upon what we hear that's new.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I think the week leading up to it will be cool / interesting.
Very interesting.
Mm-hmm. I think the week leading up.
I also appreciate the short answer to this question so that I can
It's just frustrating. Like, because everyone's been asking me all week, have you got a rumor mill? And the problem with the rumor mill is that I could get something for the rumor mill literally hours before the show airs.
Yep.
So I say no, but then something could pop up. And there's stuff that I asked about. There's stuff that I've heard that I said, can that be on the rumor mill? And I get a big fat no.
Nope.
Nope.
And there's good reason for the big fat nope, right? There is very solid reason for the big fat nope. And it'll be interesting. Interesting times ahead for everybody.
Stefan Selby makes a good point. Follow Ed Freeze on Twitter. He's sharing some great Xbox stories. He is. Have you been keeping an eye on that?
I have.
He's been sharing all the cool knickknacks and Xbox stuff that he got back then, and signed console and a little thing and like little knickknacks and stuff. It's pretty cool what he's been doing.
Yeah. And I would like I wish I could email him. I'd love to have someone like Ed Freeze on this show.
Or Seamus.
Yeah, Seamus. Seamus we might be able to do. We'll see.
I'd love to get Seamus. I wish he'd reply to more of my DMs like he used to.
Yeah. Now, that was the last question. So
it was
some last minute house cleaning or housekeeping. One, if you've been sitting on a super chat and you want to chuck it through, donate that money to Extra Life. The link is in the description below. Someone will helpfully make it appear in the chat right now. Go and push us over the limit and donate to a good cause for the children. It's much better than giving the money to us. So yeah, go do that. But worth noting, the community has absolutely smashed the original target, which was quite modest. You guys have once again proven that we are building the best community out there. Like, love you guys so much for it. Other than that, next week we will be back at the usual time. It will be a 20th anniversary show.
What usual time? Didn't we do usual time today?
Yeah, we'll be back at the usual time. I'm just reiterating.
I thought you were making that as if we did some weird time today, and I'm like, wait, did we do something not normal today?
We're okay. But yeah, we'll be back same time next week. I think it will be a very anniversary focused show. I don't know if we've got a guest planned.
I do my best. Like, it's hard to get one every week.
And it's also worth noting it's the busiest time of the industry. And anyone on the Xbox, we're all going to be working on stuff.
I'm actually shocked that I got Max and Destin back to back.
Yeah, that's so good.
Like, I was surprised that I even got that. Yeah. Hopefully, we're November. We're still got to get MVG on for a Christmas one.
We've got to plan the Christmas episode. We've got to have the
I want to get written. You know what? We should try and get MVG and Jeff Grubb on together for the Christmas one.
What, and then beat them in a friends off?
That would be cool. And then, because Dim said he'd wear his ugly Xbox sweater.
I came so close to ordering a Halo one, but I just couldn't justify the cost right now.
I've got to order the Friends XboxEra t-shirt.
I've got to order the Friends Xbox. There's so many. Have you seen the t-shirt? Have you seen the t-shirt?
What's going on?
Should we give the chat?
Is that one happening?
Yeah.
Is the what's going on one happening?
Let me find it, and I can get Jesse to throw it in the chat. Hang on, it's somewhere in my history.
Bavaria, Jez has been on before, so we were meant to do an Xbox 4 episode, which was the two of us with Jez and Rand. Rand was very ill and couldn't be on. So Jez jumped on anyway. And that was the first time I think we got the exclusive on Jez being on camera too.
True story.
I think that was the first time Jez has been on camera, was on our show.
Yep.
So that was a thing. But we still need to do Xbox 4, which is the two of us and Jez and Rand.
On camera. Because I saw Jez bought a new camera recently as well. So
yes, he did.
He can look
but we've got to
prettier.
get Rand somehow on camera.
Yeah, good luck with that. He doesn't want to do it. Can't force it.
Somehow. I know.
You can't force it.
But I can be persuasive. I know persuasive.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
I'll
pay
try
him. Bribe
I'll
him.
try.
I can't find this image. I might. Oh no, here we go. Copy image. I don't know how we can show this.
We can share screen. You can share screen.
Oh God, I don't even know how to open original. Sharing screen for me is really difficult.
What are you trying to do?
I want to show this. I want to show this thing. I'll send it to Jesse, and he can work some magic somehow. But yeah, I can't even.
Hold on. Let me try and find it. Let me try and find it. Have you found it?
Yeah, I found it. This is the infamous "What's Going On" T-shirt.
Okay.
And it's worth mentioning. I think Jesse's going to pop in, but he's streaming on Twitch for a while longer. So get those extra life donations in. Get them in.
So what I want to do is I'm going to share. I'm going to share my screen. Share a Microsoft Edge tab.
Stuff, Sean. Close down your tabs, John. It's not that.
Can you see that?
That's the
the
new
t-shirt.
T-shirt coming to the screen. And if you zoom in, can you zoom in?
I don't know.
Control and mouse scroll.
I don't want to break anything.
Yeah, there you go. Look in the logo. There's the XboxEra Podcast logo there.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're doing stuff. We're doing things. But that's a pretty cool T-shirt.
That's the T-shirt. See how StreamYard just lets us.
I know.
I think that's pretty cool. StreamYard's pretty cool. I don't mind it.
Yeah, that's it. That's the end of the show. It's the end of the show. So yeah, go tune on to our Twitch channel and go hang out with Jesse, who's going to pop in on camera right now and wave and say, "Come join us."
Hello, I've been going for 9 hours and 20 minutes. So if you want to come, and I'm going to do a few more hours of,
what are you streaming?
I'm streaming you, bitch. I am streaming Forza Horizon 5, technically, but you guys are in a nice little box next to the car. It's actually a very nice way to watch the show. But I'm going to play really weird for our channel, I know, but I'm going to be playing some Halo to wrap up my night.
There you go. Solid choice. So go head over there, folks, and go give Jesse on the Twitch channel. Go give him all your follows and give him the most viewers he's ever had whilst running that channel right now. It'd be very cool of you. Go and
Can I get a Halo code? I want a Halo code.
We'll talk offline. We'll talk offline about these things. All right.
I gave up my Forza Horizon code. I want a Halo code.
Okay. I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying, but I can buy you one at retail when they come out.
What?
Okay,
buy me one at
retail. That's the end of the show, guys. We'll catch you later on. Good night, everybody.
Ciao for now.